Everyone, and welcome once again to Football Park. This is Saturday night football on this Easter long weekend. Round 3 is underway, and this promises to be a beauty despite the conditions between Port Adelaide, Port Power and North Melbourne. Weather, well, the rain has been falling now since early this afternoon, and it has been consistent heavy rain, which is great news for the farmers and the rural communities right around the country, but it's going to make it a real slog here at Football Park tonight. Let's have a look at the two sides coming out now, and firstly with Port Power. The good news for them is that Gavin Wanganeen has finally been able to put away the golf clubs and get back out onto the football field. They will certainly relish the return of their skipper as he leads them out in these wet conditions. As you can see, rain still falling, and I think that's going to be the trend for the remainder of the evening. And now North Melbourne making the journey. They arrived in Adelaide shortly after lunchtime today. There's Wayne Carey leading them through the banner. A couple of changes there, and the boys will bring you up to date with that in just a moment, because joining him are going to be Terry Wheeler and also Dougie Hawkins.
The 1998 AFL Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. Victoria Bennett for a hard-earned thirst. Cadbury Mark of the Year, and McDonald's, official restaurant of the AFL.
Well, weather conditions like this, it's a real toss of the coin who is going to get the job on the boundary. Bruce Abernethy put his hand up at the start of the week, and he has got the job. So, Abba, good to have you with us, and welcome.
Oh, thank you, Sandy. It's fabulous to be here. As you've already said, it is pouring. Now, you might know they've introduced a rule here at Football Park: no umbrellas this year. They say it impedes the view behind. I'm trying to get one smuggled in, but I'm scared that if I put it up, I'm going to get rocks thrown at me. But anyway,
actually, Abba, on a serious note, what's the surface like? This is a very good ground.
Well, it is a good ground. I suppose it's one of the modern grounds where the surface doesn't chop up like the old suburban grounds did into mud. It's a good surface, except it is slippery as. So I mean, the guys would want the long stops. It's going to be. I know it's an old cliche, but it's really who's going to get in, get the hard ball, and get it forward. They're the team that's going to win. So I'm looking forward to it.
And if those people have any spare umbrellas, just send them into Bruce Abernethy, Channel 7 Adelaide. Nowhere else. We're going to take a break. Back at Football Park shortly.
Just come on in, 'cause we've got it all. The crowd is hot and we're ready for football. The big game is coming your way.
Welcome back to Football Park. Wayne Carey has won the toss and joined. We should be playing the song Way Out West, because two of their favourite sons are with me. The coach and his captain, Dougie Hawkins, Terry Wheeler. Welcome, boys.
Thank you, Sandy. What a night for footy, though.
Well, it's going to be good to be tucked up at home and watch this one.
Very much is. This is very good, and it's going to be a very tough opening period, I think, Sandy. Both sides are going to be quite physical at it, and the conditions now bring that even more to the fore. Johnny Longmire, just looking at the Port Adelaide squad.
Here we are, Port Adelaide squad here. Very important meet on Kerry. Paxman will probably pick up Craig Scholl down their forward line, but two keys for Port Adelaide in their forward line is Darryl Poole and Scott Cummings. Very important for their side in the forward line, Port Adelaide.
And so the centre bounce area becomes very, very important, and North Melbourne into their side have brought the tall players back in. Capuano and McKernan, the two players that come in. Poole there with the Darryl Poole going back onto Wayne Carey. That is a surprise there.
It is a big surprise there, Wills.
But the North Melbourne side, a very tall side in these conditions. John Longmire did not make the final cut, and young Brent Harvey comes in to replace him.
Yes, I think a lot of people thought Anthony Rock might have made the journey to Football Park tonight, but that is not the case. So we are set to go here in this round 3 clash. Saturday night football coming away on 7. There's big Matthew Primus playing in his 45th game. Second in the club championship last year. Jamie Love is the 28-year-old greenkeeper who on Saturday nights doubles as an umpire, and he puts the game in motion. Primus up a little early, couldn't take it cleanly. Sock it off the ground, an early whistle. It's going to go the way of Port.
And so, Sandy, Wayne Carey has lined up there at centre-half back on Darryl Poole, as we saw earlier. It's a ploy to get him into the game a little bit. In slippery conditions, it's a little bit easier to be coming from the half-back line.
Kingsley got it down towards Lyle. He kicks up towards half-forward, but it's chopped off by Pickett. Pickett comes back towards Harvey. Brent Harvey marks on half-back. The sleeting rain is something we're going to have to put up with throughout the night. He kicks in towards the middle. Good work, though, for Port by Fabian Francis.
He's going to be important tonight. Just that little bit of experience that he has got over a career. Experience will come to the fore in these conditions.
Well, Kingsley did play on then, Terry.
Yeah, I think so. You're right there. Just shape there to give it off.
Told to go this time. Burgoyne tries to pop one over the top, almost down towards 50. They're going to be handling it like a piece of soap, although Bond does extremely well. Puts it in towards full forward for Port Power. No one there to take the mark. The snapper goal is away to the right. Well away to the right.
And seeing a couple of Port and midfield matchups. Pike has the job on Michael Wilson for Port Adelaide, and Lyle looks like having a job on Anthony Stevens. Very important role for those two Port Adelaide players.
David King is going to bring it back into play. Heads to the outer side. The crowd have come out in force. Football Park. The Port fans love their side and they love footy. As King defends again. Doesn't get very far, and it's eventually pushed over the line. There was a crowd holding the ball. The North fans.
See, this is a big ask of Matthew Capuano, to return to the side in these very difficult conditions for a big man.
Paul doing the work with Capuano. Capuano tries to edge him out. Short little kick goes straight up in the air, and Paul just tries to flick it over the back once again. Going to be a lot of soccer tactics used tonight. Carey tries to get a short little kick. Doesn't travel a great distance. Eildon couldn't take it. Primus can. Primus goes with a long kick in towards full forward. Floats over the top and is away to the left. Just kept in play by Mickey Martin as he defends, and he comes back towards half back. Over the top of the pack it goes. Port have got the numbers there once again. This is young Michael Wilson in trouble. Gives it away and loses it to Pike. Martin Pike has been very, very steady. On the end of this should be Anthony Stevens. If it sits, he's going to be in business. North will go down towards 50 for the first time. Clean bowled with Scholl, but he's going to be first to recover. He may soccer off the ground. No, he chooses to pick it up. Loses a valuable seconds and his claim as Bond again defends on the last line defence. It comes away towards Mead, and Mead is clear to centre wing. No mark taken by Shannon Grant, but Grant recovers. Gets a hurried left foot snap in towards the centre of Football Park. Oh, they tumble over the top. It's eventually picked up by Chris Naish. Goes down towards half forward. Chopped off by Capuano.
And this is where they now need to look towards the outer side. Get a little bit of a switch play going. Evan Hewitt's their target at centre half forward. And here's another example. Big Ev, he just can't quite get into it at the moment. Carey's their normal man at centre half forward. A very noticeable and predictable target. But young Evan Hewitt having trouble just getting into it at the moment.
And I think too, Wills, some of the young Port Adelaide players are trying to finesse a bit too much. In these conditions, when you're in a bit of trouble, get the ball to your foot and get it forward in your forward line quick as possible.
Whatever the outcome of tonight's game, I think for Port Adelaide, this would be a great game for them to get through in these conditions, to learn a little bit more about playing at this high level in what are difficult conditions.
Primus again. Going to be a lot of slipping tonight. Grant through with the long sleeves, had it and then lost it. Josh Franco slips out the hand pass like breeze lightning. The kick is high into the pocket. It's going to be chopped off once again by Capuano. It came from Donald Dickey. He again comes back towards half-back and drifting across to take the mark for North Melbourne is Hewitt. Looks towards centre wing. Blakey had a front spot, but they came over the top and just too good. An excellent mark taken by Mead.
It was tough for Hewitt, wasn't he? Works up the ground to get his first mark and kicks it directly back to his own opponent.
Dickey in towards full forward. A soccer off the ground attempt by Naish. Martin on the very last line. Opposing number 4. Mickey gives it to Wayne Carey. Carey wants a bit of space, so he heads towards the boundary line on the outer side, but hasn't quite got the trouble in these wet conditions. Eventually it does go over, so a throw in on the outer side.
I think what's important too, Wheels, is a couple of players in North Melbourne, particularly Shannon Grant and Bell, who don't normally wear long sleeves. Wheels, I know quite well in dry days I love the short sleeve, but when it was wet, I was one player who'd rather be sure to handle that football with those long sleeves.
And it's going to be important, isn't it, that you really take the ball and be sure you've got possession.
Long shot in towards goal is going to be okay for Kingsley, and Porter on the ball. Adam Kingsley gets the powers first.
Well, I think they've really opened well here, Port Adelaide. They've kept the ball within inside their forward line. North have only gone, I think, up inside their 50 once.
Yep.
And Port Adelaide have really been able to trap the ball in very well. A lot of that has to do with Primus. He's playing back the kick behind, whereas Capuano's doing it for the other side. But there's a lot of run from Port Adelaide through the midfield. So Port Adelaide with the first goal on the board, providing the run through the midfield. And this centre bounce will be very, very important here tonight. Bell tries to get away, but once again they're just squeezed here by the Port Adelaide midfielders. They're very, very ferocious at the ball. Pickett from the back line, long into half forward now, bounces into the 50. Fabian Francis, that's a great take, but under pressure, Scholl to Harvey, into the side tonight. The little man, he's here just to do this, scout around the packs, kick a goal, son, well done.
Brent Harvey levels the scores.
Well, that is why he came into the side, wasn't it?
No doubt there, Wills, and the great tackle by Craig Scholl too put enormous pressure on the back line of the Port Adelaide side. Scholl's tackle certainly set that goal up for young Brent Harvey, who just ran into open goal very easily, touched the ball to the ground, which is a good sign too. Don't try and bounce a ball in these conditions, and an easy goal for the North Melbourne side.
Scores level here at Football Park. Back in the middle with Harvey levelling the scores. Robert Scott tried to take it out to the centre, couldn't do so. Also there was Donald Dickey in trouble. Braden Lyle on his back, and look at Lyle pounce on it again, got it out. But the umpire is quick to come in and take charge.
I just think there, Wills, you think it's a negative situation with Wayne Carey starting the game, particularly at centre half back. I know he has gone back down to start at centre half forward when there's been pressure on. Do you think it's a bit negative?
I think it is. I think at centre half forward they really need to have a focal point here tonight, just so that players can work predictably and kick the ball long, and so you can get in underneath the contest. There's going to be no room for finessing here tonight.
Wanganeen is caught. Ball spilled through once again. Tackling is excellent by Archer. An attempted sock off the ground by Stevens, comes wide to Winston Abraham, has it, lost it, goes again, they pounce on him, cry a ball from Port fans. Jamie Love will have none of it.
Abraham has been good though for North in the lead-up games through the Ansett Cup. The North Melbourne bench ensuring they're stretched and warmed up when they called on by Denis Pagan.
Abraham again, Robert Scott was there also. It's eventually pushed down towards half forward, down towards Harvey once again. It could have been written into the ground, not so in these sort of conditions. Pressure now on the defences. Harvey goes again. They can't get it out. Keeping a close eye on proceedings is Scott McLaren, and eventually Porter able to push it wide down towards the half-back flank. They've got the numbers there. Lyle it is who takes it away from the danger zone for the immediate time. In fact, will come back. He's got a free kick, Braden Lyle. He's between half-back and centre wing.
I think this will be one of the only softer free kicks that will be given here tonight. In these conditions, you really have to earn them.
Goes up towards half-forward. Suddenly, Port looked dangerous once again, but unable to get there in time as Chris Naish can see in picture there, so I'll throw in.
Important player in the side. Now, he brings some experience from Richmond, and really, I think there's only 2 players out there for the Port Adelaide side who have played more than 100 games, whereas there's 7 for North Melbourne. That's a huge experience advantage.
Capuano doing the ruck work once again. Carey tumbling a punt towards the half-back line, only as far as the chest of Josh Franco. He's an exciting young player. Franco spears a worm burner in towards half-forward. Stevens might make him pay as he sockets it down towards half-forward. Scholl's got the player running past and uses him in. Harvey has kicked one already. Goes down towards Blakey. If it sits for Johnny Blakey. It sits, it's still sitting. He picks himself up. He gets it. Well done, Blakey.
Well, there it was. For anyone else who's running in behind, a goal was sitting there for the taking.
I'll tell you what, Wills, the important thing there was Anthony Stevens' kick off the ground there. It went about 50 metres into their forward line, and that certainly resulted in that goal for Blakey, who missed the footy, doubled back, picked up, Gavin fell over, and just screwed it over his shoulder. Good play by Blakey.
So John Blakey, with the second go at the ball, gets North Melbourne's second goal. And the ball really just being pushed and forced forward by either side here. Stevens tries to get out, gets a free kick. So the umpires and umpire goals think they're clearly indicating the players first in are going to be looked after here a little bit, Doug.
Yeah, certainly, Wills. I was just saying on Wangling before, if he tried to maybe stay on his feet there and Blakey got that goal, could have been a better effort by Gavin.
So Carey taking the handball, kicking, and then dealt with by Poole. Free kick down the ground. Big Wayne happy to let that go now. Anthony Stevens wanted a little bit of Poole. So it's back on the outside. Abraham kicks it into the 50. Harvey again, what a live wire. He's been early. Straightens himself up. He's had another slot. He's kicked 2. Great goal. Well, there is no doubt about it now. Whether, the balance, I think, looks a whole lot better. John Longmire originally was in the side, Doug, whether it was his shoulder ligaments or whether it was the wet conditions. I'm not quite sure what took him out, but Harvey has proved to be the player.
There's the Carey incident there where he got skittled there by Poole, but it was great play by Harvey. He span and turned his opponent inside out, so good play by the young fella.
So North at the moment making a lightning start courtesy of Brent Harvey, who's got 2. Johnny Blakey's got 1 after Port made the initial thrust through Adam Kingsley. Out in the middle once again, Robert Scott is at the bottom of the pack. Lyle's got him. Very difficult to get it out. Primus was working hard, the big man. Now there's been a free kick picked up on the side of that pack, and it'll go to Darryl Poole.
Well, the Port Adelaide crowd very happy to see that one. They thought their man was unfairly dealt with by the umpire in that clash with Carey.
I think they said overdue 2, Wills, I think.
Still having a little bit of a go too. We'll keep an eye on them as Josh Franco has it just forward of centre wing. Looks to put Port inside 50. Pickett was a big flyer. And there's been a free kick picked out of that, and it's going to go the way of Johnny Blakey.
I think a bit stiff there. I think Blakey slipped more than anything in that contest.
Kicks back towards centre wing. Pack a little too far underneath it. There's an excellent smother though. Opens the door for Brady Anderson. He gets a short one away. Danger here for Port Power once again. They're going to have to hit their stacks on. Paxman chases. They won't get it. There's 4 straight. Powerful start by North Melbourne. Winston has kicked his first.
Well, and really, Abraham probably does the right thing to finish this off, Doug, but if you're going to play Carey at centre half-back, you've also got to have him hurt the opposition side. And I thought it would have been a great opportunity then to give that to Carey on the run, and that would have done a lot of damage to Poole at centre half-forward. So Abraham picks up his first.
So Winston's getting on in the act as well. Winston Abraham has 1, 2 to Harvey, 1 to Blakey. Back in the middle once again. Primus goes to ground. An attempted soccer away by Danny Morton, not successful. He's a little live wire. Watch out for him, number 13 for Port. Been around for a while, started at North, did some time at Fitzroy.
And the good thing about Winston Abraham there, Wills, instead of trying to kick the ball long into the goals, being a wet ball, he just lobbed it towards the goal square and let the ball slide through those goals. Good play by Abraham.
And you've got to just use the ball quickly, you know, and so Port now, they've done that inside the 50. Cummings, that's good work, just getting it on out quickly, but North Melbourne with the numbers again. With that little bit of pressure on King then, and his kick goes over the line out of bounds on the full. So Wilson, he's got the shot. This is a tough shot in these conditions. Doug, will he have a ping?
I'd like to, he'd have a shot there, Wills. Very, very slippery football. Try the old boomerang kick, they call it.
Check side.
Oh.
The left foot, and he has checked it nowhere near enough, and it's gone straight across the face of goal.
What do you call it, Sandy?
You've got to call it, in South Australia, Dougie, check side.
Not the boomerang.
No.
Or the banana. I call it the check side, Dougie, okay.
You've spent too much time in an orchard. 6 plays 24 to the outer side. Pushed towards the line by Shannon Grant. Was that deliberate? Port fans are saying yes, but it's going to come back, and Grant is going to get a free kick in the back pocket.
So we've got to give Port their dues. Their forward line is really working like defenders. Once the ball's in there, they're working to hold it in on all occasions.
Turns 21
That's terrible.
next week. Shannon Grant, he won't fancy that as a present. But down towards Wanganeen. Got rid of it very, very quickly. A good smother, may keep it in the Port zone for the moment. Brody Anderson did well to try and get it out to Capuano and Stevens. Stevens fires it up, goes with the left foot, makes good ground, popped over the top. North a chance now to go forward. Through Archer up towards half forward, over the back. Who's waiting there for North Melbourne? Looks like Scholl. Gives away a little ground. He's almost down to centre wing as he swings it back towards the 50.
Carey has gone to centre forward, Sandy, so that move's been made.
Paxman's just gone onto his bottom. Winston may have another shot. Wobbles it in towards the right forward pocket. North have got the numbers if they could keep it in play. The hand pass comes away. It was okay from McCartney. They're not out of it yet. Shannon Grant swings round. He's looking to make it 5 straight. He's off target to the left. And the first blemish goes on the board for the boys from Arden Street.
I think in these conditions, I'd like to see Gavin Wanganeen come up in the midfield. His ability to control the football, he's got a very, very smart football brain. I believe he's wasted in that back pocket where he's picking up Glenn Archer.
Well, there's been a free kick being picked out here. Back behind the play by umpire Scott McLaren. A holding decision for North Melbourne, and so the kick is going to be taken at the position where the ball was when the free kick was awarded. It was in the goal square, so Craig Scholl bangs it through. So North's 5th goal, I think it was Primus and Stevens. Poole having a lot to say to umpire Scott McLaren as they head back to the centre. But maybe
What was that about, Wills, again?
well, I reckon that's a
didn't
little bit
catch that
touchy in these conditions. The way I saw it was that in the huddle at centre half back there was some holding. The umpires pinged them there. The free kick then is taken exactly where the ball is at that particular stage. It was in the 10-yard square.
Well, Dougie, if you look at North scored, you wouldn't believe that it's been pouring with rain for 5 hours. Here they picked 5-1.
Sandy, you would not believe that. And the move that Kerry at centre half back's been a good move. I always said that along the line there. Right at centre half back.
Shannon Grant initiates another move down towards Carey and co. across that half-forward line. Tried to chop it off. He held it for a long time. Was the skipper Wanganeen. Scholl works hard, pushing it even further downfield. Oh, they're feeling the heat now. Eustace couldn't handle it. Kick high, back towards the centre of the ground. The marker's dropped by Blakey. They pounce on him, but he's able to get rid of it to Capuano. Back it's going to come back. The whistle has sounded, I think.
No, they've played the advantage now, Sandy. Yep.
Well, I don't know how much advantage there was because this is Paxman and he's coming away. Back towards centre wing. No mark taken. Pike was at the back. He goes with an attempted soccer off the ground. He's got plenty of help with King and Scott. Scott back to Pike. He says,
He can't do that.
Free kick.
That aside, though, hasn't Pike been a great pickup for North Melbourne? Even this year, you know, some of the jobs he's done. He's done Hurd in the Ansett Cup, Harvey in the night grand final, Gary Lyon last week, and a good playing Wilson here this week.
I think too, Wills, about Pike. He certainly has matured a hell of a lot off the football field where he had some problems. He has matured into a really good football and a good person as well.
Excellent smother, but Bond goes to Wanganeen. Another one to Fords Francis. North have got injury problems. King limping from the ground. We'll get Bruce Abernethy to leave the lovely warm confines of his bunker to find out just what is going on. In the meantime, Pickett defends on the outer side. Martin Pike is there. Pike steadies from half back. Goes in towards Peter Bell. He won't mind these conditions. Low to the ground towards Scholl. He fires it up and he takes the mark.
It's a terrible thing to say, but I think it just seems that the spirit of Port has already been broken. They've done everything they can in the early part, but North have just put their goals on the board.
Oh, long way to go yet. Let's hope that Donald Dickey can do something here. Fire him up, Donald! He's in the back pocket. And he says, where do I go? I'll hit for the boundary line and pray that it'll make it. And it does.
I think you're spot on there, Wills. That situation there with Donald Dickey there just explained the whole thing for Port Adelaide. He had 3 North Melbourne opponents right around him. He looked down the ground, and there was 2 more North Melbourne players down the ground. He had nowhere to go bar the boundary.
So
Throw in again. Sorry, Wills. Shannon Grant takes it from Bell, kicks in towards half forward. Ricochets off the chest, but they've got Brady Anderson waiting there. He pounces on it, kicks it back in towards Scholl territory once again. Scholl is in the pocket. Paxman wearing him like a glove. Scholl is still going. He gets good support. Paxman from Shane Bond. Bond heads to the outer side. Now, a late injury report. We saw David King limp to the boundary line. Abbas?
Yes, it's a left ankle. They've taken his boot off. It is strapped already, but the doctor is feeling his lower shin as well.
Bruce Abernethy on the boundary line. As we again go to Matthew Primus on the outer side. Can't get his kick. Now there's an illegal shepherd, I think, going on there, Wheels.
it's a big call, isn't it? In these conditions, you know, players are going to be pushing and shoving a little bit. And I think the umpires need to be very conscious of the difficulty, and umpire Jamie Love was the one there. You can see he's clearly indicating that he believed Wilson interfered into the ruck contest and shepherded, but once the umpire throws it in, boy, geez, it wouldn't take long for the ball to be within 5 metres, and then you are allowed to shepherd. So I think he's a little bit trigger happy there, the umpire.
Scholl unable to take it. Francis can clear now. He's got pulled down towards the centre. Bounces off the big man's chest, but he's able to recover, go back to the man who gave it to him in the first place. Oh, Shannon Grant says, run into this, Mr. Kingsley. And he does. Dickey goes down towards centre wing. He might think about the hand pass to Donald. Look out,
squeeze
Donald.
now. Well done. Well done.
He does do well, but equally good is the smother by Robert Scott to keep that ball locked in on centre wing.
Yeah, Doug, your point earlier of being able to use the ball a little bit longer and not be too cute or finessing the ball too much is still very, very pertinent. I think Port still are in that little bit of a frame, aren't they?
A couple of clever type players will still try to do that finessing, particularly in these conditions. You must get the ball in long into your forward line. Give him a chance to kick a score.
Eagleton and Wilson having a good old go right in that half forward line. Burgoyne from a standing start. He kicks it high, kicks it long to full forward. They need a mark, or Cummings to sucker off the ground. Scotty Cummings, who's booted 9 already this season and 7 last week. Going to find it a different story tonight in these conditions, Douglas.
Yeah, certainly there, Sandy. I just see a problem for Jack Cale down in their back line, where you see Paxman picking up Scholl. At ground level, he's got no idea at ground level, particularly with Scholl. I'd like to see maybe Eustace go onto Scholl and Paxman go onto Hewitt.
So Byron Pickett to do the kicking in for North. Been a very good player. Former Port Adelaide player, and was spotted by North Melbourne while playing in the reserves over here at Port Adelaide. So that's a good get by the recruiting staff there. Kingsley on the left foot, brings it back in, but here's Pickett again. He's racking up some possessions. This will be his 5th disposal.
Well, look at this.
It's a quality one into Blake. He's got plenty of room at the half back. Kicks to half forward. It's not going to quite make Scholl. And standing the way there, Burgoyne. Bond it is.
Yeah, Mark by Bond.
Plays on, in trouble, loses it.
That's a tough one.
Paxman pushes towards the boundary line, might not make it, but he's got support in the form of Wilson, and Franco comes off the chest of young Josh Franco. As Port fans continue to ponder that decision.
That decision's a bit tough there, as Will's called it there, Sandy. We can't see that again or not, or no, we can't see that. But anyway, that was very hard on Bond there for Port Adelaide.
You've got to deviate off the line, you know. And
he went straight back.
Yep.
Lyle, Primus and Co. and Bond working hard to get it out of the throw-in, but straight onto the chest of Blake. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. A quarter that has been dominated by North Melbourne. Danger signs go up once again as they surge it down towards half forward. Mead and Wanganeen must get them out of trouble. Wanganeen will have a clever little kick down towards Dickey. Clean bowled is Donald. Danger in a sharp ground. Now he's a left footer. Will chip into the pocket. And the mark is taken just inside by Glenn Archer. He wants to straighten up the angle, and he does that with Scholl right in front.
Well, he's a perfect foil in that forward line, Scholl, isn't he? I mean, you're right, Doug. I mean, Paxman really just can't go with the quick moves that Scholl's able to work in with his teammates.
You're dead right there, Wills. And particularly at ground level, Scholl's just too clever for Steve Paxman.
And he's
I think the change might have been on there, Wills.
Yeah.
I think I caught out there, Port Adelaide.
Well run. And a 50-metre penalty, Sandy. While we were dissecting that bit of game, I missed what that was for.
Well, you tend to miss a bit when Dougie's dissecting, but let's not worry about it.
So he ain't going to miss this one.
There's another one. So North Melbourne continue to pour it on. Scholl has 2, Harvey has 2, and North have 6.
Scholl picked up 6 last year in this particular game. He's right on target to do a good game, isn't he? The way in which he's just been able to get on the end of things. Yeah, there will always be a lot of skill errors, but you still can't assume. You can't assume that Archer isn't going to give this one off. And too many Port players just laid off covering that one then.
6-1 plays 1-1. Well, the home side have given the visitors a 30-point start. Big leads aren't uncommon. Let's remember that Hawthorn led by 42 points at half-time today and were pipped by the Tigers. Ball's going to come back. It's a free kick to North's Peter Bell. It's taken high, as you can see there by the left arm.
What Port desperately need, they need Scotty Cummings to get on it into something and
goals.
kick it. Yeah.
Sit up forward.
I mean, it's a big ask on Mickey Martin.
Bell to Pike. From a standing start, he pumps it long. Now Carey's in front and he takes a big mark.
He's marking a lot better this year, isn't he? After the shoulder injury, he still wasn't right late last year, was he?
He goes for the doctor. He goes for home here, boys. A long kick into the forward line. Pressure once again on this Port defence. Look at the tackling. Francis taken out of it when he was almost gave away the free kick with a tackle. Could have been construed as a push in the back. And now the man at the bottom has been pinged for holding the ball. Port have some relief.
Looked very stiff there, Craig Scholl, because he had 3 players from Port Adelaide all over him. Here we are here. Well, he sort of fell on it. Didn't get much chance to get out, I don't think.
Bond is in the back pocket, Douglas.
Make a decision, Doug.
Hold the ball.
Good man.
Okay, hold the Haggard.
Bond towards centre wing. Dickey in from the side, and that has gone out of bounds on the full. Ricocheting away. Robert Scott, the veteran now, 209 games. Come into tonight, he had 208 games and 208 goals for those trivia buffs. Doug's just jotting that down. Winston Abraham goes across the face of goal with a wobbly old one in front of Paxman. And it just beats him over the line.
I think a bit earlier there, Sandy and Wills, we did see a Port Adelaide player try a check side from the boundary.
Yes.
Here we have Glenn Archer, more experience, chipped the ball across to his teammate. Very, very good example of sending the ball up to your teammates.
So Hewitt doing the ruck work in the front position, drops it on down. Fabian Francis works with the skipper Wanganeen. He'll be minding his P's and Q's tonight, Will Gavin. It's against North Melbourne in the practice match that he was suspended this year. Port trying there to con the umpire on the full, but nothing in it. So 6 goals won is a great start in this quarter to North Melbourne. Port got the first goal of the game. And for the first 10 minutes they were right there, but North now working very, very well. That didn't go the distance. Bell very quickly wrapped up.
It'll ring my bell at the bottom of the pack.
And I'll tell you what, Sandy, the move's being made now. Paxman has Hewitt, and Eustace is picking up Scholl. So, Dougie, you've called one. You've called one, son. What should be a coach, Sandy?
I think it's a matter of time, but I pay quits to see your chalkboard on the 50-metre line with a couple of minutes remaining in this first quarter. Great start for North Melbourne.
It'll be a tough one at quarter time for John Carl. You know, how to get the players back up and motivated and inspired. You know, their leader, Gavin Wanganeen, he really now has to get into the fray and give them something.
The advantage is paid there because Primus was taken off the ball. Kingsley also appeared to be interfered with. Play goes on, it's shoveled towards the line and over in front of Kingsley. And a throw-in. Here's Paul. See it again there. Jason McCartney, who's wearing the number 5 strip for North Melbourne. Throw in on the outer side, just in Port's attacking zone. Poole gets the hand pass out. It's going to be okay. Franco's kick is high. Doesn't gather a lot of distance. Blakey's in front and takes a good mark.
Gee, he's been good across there, hasn't he? That's to be his fifth disposal, 3 marks. He's really been in control across the half-back line.
Been a great servant of the game, hasn't he? Over 250 matches for a couple of sides. Oh, the tackling by North is fierce. It finishes with Primus now. He's miscued that. Bell has taken it and steered it in towards half forward. And Harvey has taken the mark. He already kicked a couple, this young boy.
Very good young player. And in actual fact, some common stuff between Doug and I here. That Brent Harvey was a Ron James medalist. And Ron James was the young player that played with us at Footscray, Doug. And the medal is for the best player in the under-18 championships out of Victorian country and Victorian Metropolitan. And Brent won it in 1995.
The late Ronnie James, yes. Harvey from 42 metres. The drop punt is on its way. Going to be very close. He's had a big quarter, this boy. 3 goals to Brent Harvey. And an even better quarter for North. In fact, now they've kicked 7 straight. Well, they've kicked 7-1 because Port booted the first.
Yeah, been a great start by the Kangaroos, and of course Kerry up at centre half back's been the driving force, particularly early in this first quarter. But up in their forward line, young Harvey, the replacement for John Longmire, who didn't play tonight, he's not playing, of course. 3 goals, been outstanding. Shoals kicked 2, so the North forward line's worked beautifully tonight so far.
43 plays 7. North in command. Socket off the ground down towards half forward for Port. They've got about half a minute to try and put something on the board. It's Socket towards the boundary line. The race is on. They won't get there in time, and there'll be a throw-in front of Peter Burgoyne, Donald Dickey, Robert Scott, and also down there Brett Chandler for North Melbourne. Poole doing the ruck work. Peter Bell comes away, tumbling the puck back towards the centre. Primus in front of Carey takes them.
Well, in these conditions, these would be the first wet conditions that these players have played in. Not many practice games or Ansett Cups were played in these conditions.
No, it's been a dry old summer, thank heavens. They have at last opened as the siren sounds at quarter time. Braden Lyle can simply throw it back into the middle. A stunning first quarter by North Melbourne. Port kicked the first goal, and then the Roo machine got into top gear, and they booted 7. So at quarter time it is North 7-1-43. Port in deep trouble 1-1-7.
The crowd is hot and we're ready for some football. The big game is coming your way. The best in the nation are ready to play.
Let's go back to the action at Football Park for the second term. Let's go back to the action at Football Park for the second term. Let's go back to the action at Football Park for the second term.
Yes, thank you, Craig, and let's hope that Port Power can live up to their name and power back into this second quarter, because Brent Harvey and the boys have said catch us if you can. 7-1 plays a 1-1. Brent's got 3. Craig Scholl's got a couple, and John Blakey and Wild, Winston Abraham, they've got singles. Adam Kingsley is the one contributor at the moment for Port Power. Bruce Abernethy's on the boundary line, and they're a bit stunned, Abbas.
Yes, Andy, believe it or not, the rain has cut back just a little bit for North. David King, it is his ankle. He won't be back. Corey McKernan spent all that quarter the way they're going. Might not see him at all tonight. Port Adelaide, Jack Carl, very angry. Said they were hesitant, weren't attacking the ball. The good news, at least they're kicking with a tide this quarter.
Well, let's see what they can do. I must admit, as you say, the rain hasn't stopped, but it's certainly not as heavy as it was. And Matthew Primus and his Chargers must fire up. So here we go, a second quarter. Robert Scott picks it up out of the middle, tries to shrug the tackle but can't do so, so it lands with Wilson, who pumps it high and long for Port. First couple they want really to get the crowd fired up behind them, pushing it in towards the pocket and running out of room. In the end is Peter Burgoyne. Port fans usually in full voice.
They certainly are, Sandy. It looks like Kerry, who started this quarter at centre forward, appears now has gone to centre half back once again.
And interestingly, no use yet for Corey McKernan, not required. And well, I guess that sums it up. He's not required at the moment, is he, Terry?
No, that is right. I think, and that's a great luxury here for Denis Pagan, isn't it? I mean, the concern with Corey coming to the side was that he just hasn't played any footy. All he's done, he's trained for the last fortnight, you know, reportedly very, very well, but hasn't played and can be dangerous here.
Poole belted it down, running into a solid tackle was young Eagleton, loses the football. The tackling by Bell is very good. Wilson goes again, kicks it into his man Poole. Franco's at the back, kicks it high in towards a full forward. No mark taken. Eagleton will try and go again. Poole is there. Eventually Pickett goes to the other side, but he is not going to be there for long because Francis has got it for Port. Needs something up forward. Can't find it, so
Has to be
just
Poole.
pulls it high towards Poole. Martin was in front of him. They're clearing away North Melbourne.
Great call there, Sandy. I mean, that North defence really had Poole covered there. He wasn't going to get anything. Great squeeze there by the two North big men.
Port will go again through Mead. Charlotte, fierce tackle. Ball spills free. Archer's in there as well. It's a good old slog here at Football Park at the moment. But North are hitting back hard after the disappointing loss last week.
Nothing worse there for Fabian Francis to look up in their forward line, have no one to
there
kick
wasn't
to,
anything.
had to tread water for 3 or 4 seconds, maybe even a bit more, and end up kicking the ball long in the air to no one particularly.
Brody Anderson gets it out towards Pickett. Deft little kick goes out in front of Anthony Stevens. Stevens, the left footer, bends it in towards 50. Out come the boys charging forward. Scholl takes the hand pass. It comes from Mellington. It's a high kick and the mark is a beauty. He's done it again, the youngster. Well, he's kicked 3, Brent Harvey. 3 in the first quarter.
Well, it's about time his luck changed. He was cleaned up pre-season by Scholl and broke his collarbone. This is his first game back, so he's had enough bad luck for the start of the season, the young fella.
Making up for lost time.
Isn't he ever? He's just everywhere and was great bit of bodywork. Held the front position there under some great degree of pressure and judged the flight of the ball very well.
Brent Harvey for his 4th. Drop punt 20 metres out. Well, he's saying, how good's this? He's loving it. 4 to Harvey. North continue on their merry way. They are 8-1 to Port, who are stunned on 1-1, and that one goal came very early on in the first quarter.
Yeah, certainly, Sandy. What we weren't told, this guy is a wet track specialist. He's very good in the wet, this young fella. He's kicked 4 goals. At the odds, probably on the sports book, would have been probably 100 to 1, the leading goal kicker for the round. He's a chance.
Thanks, Johnny Tapp.
So Brent Harvey with his 4th continues the North Melbourne role. He's just been right in amongst him in perfect foil in the forward line, something that Port Adelaide really haven't had just yet. They haven't got the structure up the front. Cummings can't get into the game. Carey takes them on here. Surely that's got the ball. Yep. Tackle there was laid by Donald Dickey. Wasn't as strong, but it was enough just to trap Carey's left arm here. And Carey tries to keep going. Another couple of steps. And that's definitely holding the ball. So Dickey's a long way from goal still. Now, this hesitation, Doug, this displays that they haven't really got the system right. And that doesn't work. Mickey Martin charges it down. Works with Archer. Back to Carey. Back to Martin.
The old firm.
Oh, the three of them, they know what they're doing. Mellington couldn't take it. Paxman just clears it away. But again, North setting up just that defensive wall. Archer bangs it straight back in. Here they are. Guess who? it's the young fella again. This time just lays it off.
I'll tell you what, Wills, this is unbelievable here. When Donald Dickey was kicking into their forward line in the Port Adelaide, there was probably 30-odd players there. And in North Melbourne, inside 50, only 2 players. There was Paxman and Hewitt. So North just crowd their back line and make it that hard for Port Adelaide.
Blakey then, for his second. He got in the goal scoring early in the first term. And North are doing this on the fit here at Football Park. To Johnny Blakey. And we're endangered, and dare I say it so early on, of seeing a wrap.
We are. There is no doubt about that at all. Port Adelaide really have to get something out of this centre bounce area. They've just been beaten there. Tonight, it's not so much the actual tap work that's done in there between Primus and it's Evan Hewitt in there for North Melbourne. It's not there now. It's being able to get it out very, very quickly ground level.
I'd like to hear from our taxi driver at the moment, who, when he was driving us down tonight, Doug, he said, I'll give you one sure thing. I'll say 2 words. Port Power. Apparently he's just driven into Westlakes.
I think Bob's wrong there, Sandy.
Well, let's see what Wanganeen and Co can do. 7 plays 55 and just early in the second term. But let's take nothing away from North Melbourne. This has been a stunning opening. Into the pocket goes Peter Burgoyne. Runs out of room. What did that come off? Brody Anderson asks the question politely, but no, there'll be a throw.
It's a classic case of the Masters and the Apprentices.
Great band.
They were too, that's right.
Yes, the Masters Apprentices. Undecided was one of their biggest hits, and I think Port have been a little undecided in some moves so far tonight. Burgoyne slips the tackle. Oh, gives it back. Here's a chance in the ball's full forward. Guess who's there on the last line? Mickey. Good hand pass came from Poole.
Yeah, they're trying to structure up. They've brought Lade on now, so they've got Lade and Cummings as the 2 players down there. But gee, this man, doesn't he control things back there? He's the consummate professional down there. And if you're playing in the back pocket alongside him, you would not do anything without asking Mick first, I'm sure.
I tell you what, with no disrespect, there's a fair melon, isn't it? He's got that shaven hair and it's a hard side.
Here's a chance for Donald. In towards full forward, towards Paul. Carey comes over the top, swats it down towards Pike. He gets a hurry kick that gains 20 metres. Now that's out of bounds. And there'll be a throw in. Good work, though, by Pike to take it out of the immediate danger zone.
Yeah, from there, I mean, the brief is to take the ball out wide, set it up, so then going back in through centre half forward. Now, Poole here doing the ruck work. He really should try and just flick it over the back and create something. Now, he's lost the run at it. This is where North Melbourne are in first. They've got an opportunity. Now, Naish drags it around. Chris Naish, he's curled it from the very top pocket, just to the wrong side of the far goal post.
Actually, their first score for a long time.
It is a long time, Sandy, and that's the ability of Nate to kick those goals where you don't expect him to kick them, and that's the reason why Port Adelaide certainly got him here in their side. So he's done it so many times at Richmond.
Well, he wants about 7 quickly.
How about 8 or 9?
Back comes Picker. Carey! The king flies, and he gives it down to Pike. Up towards half forward. Johnny Blakey's the target. He's edged out, pushed towards the line, and taken over for a throw-in by Steve Paxman.
He would have played him. Now, this is a good, strong sign, isn't it? I mean, what's great about that is that he really pushes his body forward to meet the ball as early as possible. He'd got enough height, so then did the safety first thing and took it on the chest.
Belted down in front to Brody Anderson. Didn't travel very far, but he was away to get it eventually to Peter Bell. He looks down towards the forward line. The bouncing ball eludes a couple. Pressure once again on Port. Mead gets the hand pass away. They're going to get out of trouble this time. Back towards the centre.
Oh, great attack.
Chances arm, and he attacks that ball. Sets it up now. Chandler was taken high. and he's got to get a free kick.
Chandler gets the free kick, but the whole intensity in that contest was stirred by Pickett really charging hard on into the ball.
Chandler puts North inside 50. Big pack of players. Bell was waiting down, appeared to be taken illegally. A chance for Bond. He's caught and loses it.
Just that little extra step, wanting to get onto the right foot, had the left foot open. Whether he thought he was clear, whether there wasn't enough voice, but really to come back inboard like that, you're always going to run into trouble.
I think too, Wills, we've got no one to kick it to. Your best friend is the boundary out wide. And what's happened now, Wangley's gone into the centre or into the midfield, and young Brett Chandler's been given the job to tag him up in the midfield.
The danger man has it. Craig Scholl. He's booted 6 coming into tonight's game. 2 already tonight. The drop punt is high. Away to the right, is it? One behind. Their blemishes have been few and far between.
I've been very impressed with Scholl over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, you know, he was a best and fairest winner on the wing, then back in the defence. But to be able to go down now and really take hold of the forward line and be the goal scorer for him has been very, very good. The last 2 years, he's right up amongst their highest goal scorers.
Fabian Francis finds Donald Dickey. That's okay. He gives it to Kingsley, who shoots it down towards centre wing. Now an opportunity for Mead. Now he's a long way from home, but he can maybe set something up for Poole. Gave a bit of a nudge. It bounces away from Robert Scott. One ball.
Well, it was better. I mean, it was a bit straight there. Got it in there quickly, and that's what they've got to do.
I tell you what, Wills, I can't believe Scott Cummings in. I'm a big rap for the guy. He's led and led when the bloke was so clear means he could have kept running in and dropped back and double. Just kept coming. I mean, the kick would have been 15 metres.
What would you do with Cummings at the moment?
I'd like to bring him up
Bring
the
him
ground,
further down.
centre half forward, and maybe put Poole back to full forward, Wills. That's the only option I think they've got from. We'll take him off the ground.
Yeah, you've got to make a move anyway. Jack's got to start to toss his
Carey to
big man
Blakey.
around a bit.
Sorry, Wills. Carey to Blakey. He loses it. Braden Lyle is shoved over the line.
I think just on that too, Sandy Wills, we've seen Harvey down here at ground level, a smaller type player up in their forward line. Why not do the same? Maybe take a Poole or a Cummings off the ground and take the option to put a smaller type player up there.
Still on centre wing. Hewitt was doing the ruck work. Kingsley caught. Franku picks it up now and swings around with the left foot. Bounces past Blakey. Bounces through Bell. Robert Scott is there at the back. Sockers off the ground. Straight under the chest of Anthony Stevens. Stevens is away, but he's a left footer, so he swings it wide. Scholl's his target. Mead's right there with him. This is going to be a good battle. Mead leads in the race. Pushes it to the line. And that's where your friend is, the boundary line, Dougie.
Yeah, you certainly, when you're in trouble, and I was told that by a great coach named Terry Wheeler. He said, Dougie, when you're in strife, son, hit the boundary.
He was the one that resurrected Liver's career.
Oh, he was the man. I helped him too a little bit.
Of course, and you're modest. Lyle, soccer tactics. Stevens in there as well. Lyle towards the line. Shannon Grant also.
I'll tell you what, Sandy, it's starting to rain here a little bit. It doesn't look like stopping, does it?
No, Dougie, if you're a farmer, you'd be delighted, so shut up. 47 points is the margin at the moment. Throwing on the outer side. 12 minutes remaining in this first half, but yes, it's heavy, sleeting rain now. Adam Kingsley kicks the first goal of the match. He kicks down towards left half forward. Port fans want a free kick, not to beat. Pull towards Burgoyne. Burgoyne's away, 47 metres out. Kicks in towards full forward. Over the top it goes. Now the race is on. Mickey Martin's jostling at the back. Wants to try and take it over. Keeps it in play. North have got the numbers at the moment. They'll have to soccer up the ground. Good work as Josh Franku comes in. Josh gives away the free kick.
Yeah, because Shannon Grant really had the intent of going in at the ball. He was the first one, and here it is here. He's got eyes only for the ball, for the boundary, and then Franco in over the top. Yeah, that was a little bit crude here.
Brodie Anderson.
Brodie, well,
has got the free
he's
kick.
done well.
Towards half back. Blakey with the one hand, couldn't control it. Again, they try and sock off the ground. Stevens and Scott and Cole. And oh, it's a tough one, isn't it, Dougie?
Oh, Jamie Love, a bit tough. The Bacchus Marsh boy, too, to curator down at the Bacchus Marsh golf course, Sandy. A bit tough.
So, well, that means it wasn't a tough decision because he's a curator at your golf club.
No, it was a good decision by him then.
Oh, dear. In front is Chris Naish on centre wing. Naish looks up towards the 50. And good tussle, this one.
That's a good get, isn't it? You know, to take Carey on there one-on-one by Lade. Good work in the front. Here's another
Kicks it
good
high to full forward. Mickey's there. There's a free kick. And listen to this Port crowd roar at that. So Pagan will come.
Well, he's not arguing, Mick, is he? I mean, generally he'd take them on there if he thought he was unfairly done by. And there's the pull on the jumper. When he turned there, he just grabbed onto Cummings' jumper. He's had the wood on Cummings. The practice match over here early in the year, he held Cummings goalless. And so really Scott needs to get this one for his own personal confidence. But if Port can actually, how much time we've got another 10.5 minutes. If they could pick up 3 goals here in this period, it would be a great fillip for them. This is so important.
20 metres out. Angle shouldn't be a problem. And they break the drought. So Scotty Cummings gets his first, and Port finally put their second on the board.
I think maybe Wilson might be a little bit tough on Scott Cummings. They've only kicked 2 goals. In all fairness, he's maybe only had that opportunity on 2 or 3 occasions to contest that ball one-on-one with Mickey Martin. So maybe I'm for one being a little bit hard on him, but he's got to kick 4 or 5 for them to have any say in the game at all.
So Scott Cummings gets his first, but really I think that the addition that Scott Cummings needs to add to his game is strength in one-on-one marking play. He's a great leader. Last week in the spaces out at Waverley when the ball was coming to him, he kicked 7 goals on the burst. Here it's a little bit tougher, and that needs to be the addition in his game. Here they come again, Port Adelaide. Carey playing at centre half back. Scott just doing the cleaning up across the back into the wing position. Brodie Anderson
is on centre wing. Exciting young players, Brodie Anderson. Down towards half forward now goes Hewitt. He might get another crack at this. Slaps it forward cleverly. Well done. Archer with absolute strength. To Winston Abraham from 55 metres out. Abraham! The kick is a beauty. And Shannon Grant will have a shot directly in front. Only 20 metres out.
Grant's been a very good pickup. I really wasn't sure about the swap between Grant and Schwartz at the beginning or at the end of last year. But what Grant's done, I mean, he's given them an extra 10 years. I mean, he's 10 years younger than Wayne Schwartz, but he's still giving that strong, hard run that Wayne Schwartz did, and will more often than not kick you a couple of goals in a game.
I tell you, Wills, Wayne Schwartz, there's a big statement here, Sandy. You'll love this one. We'll win the Brownlow medal this year.
Wayne Schwartz.
And I backed him at 25 to 1.
Yeah, that is a big statement, actually. Well, someone, a bloke wearing your old jumper might have a say, that's Scotty West, but that looks like another goal in North Melbourne. So Shannon Grant gets his first goal. Turns 21 next week, this young man.
And in all that, he has been a good pickup, hasn't he? I mean, he is able to play at half-back. He's able to play on the wing. And when he's on the wing, he's very, very dangerous in being able to get on down. And that's where he is here. He's pitted to Donald Dickey on that outer wing and being aggressive enough to come on down and have a dip.
10-2 plays 2-3. Shannon Grant gets his first. And Dougie's predicted Wayne Schwartz is going to win the Brownlow. And that's what the crowd think of Dougie. No, it's an interesting one. Harvey kicks to half forward. He certainly was the excitement machine for Sydney last week, Doug.
Certainly was, Sandy.
Poole sets himself. They pounce it.
Yeah, there's no one here between them and the goal. All got through here, Scotty. Pick it up.
Keep going. Socket it.
Well, he's been squeezed now.
Look out, says Mickey. Coming through.
He just needed that clean pickup. There was no one between him and the goals, but I guess he could hear Mickey puffing and panting coming up to him, and that puts an edge on anyone.
There was one of Mickey's teammates down there. Mickey said, "Too bad, I'm coming through."
What do you do, Sandy? You just jump out the way. Get out the way.
I mean, this is a very good defensive game from North Melbourne, no doubt about that. They've got the strength of Martin. Pickett there doing the kicking in. He's really given them a touch of class across half-back. And there we have Stevens just linking in a player that, while playing in the midfield, will always work hard back into the half-forward line to generate some run through the midfield.
Porter preparing to make a change. They've got a little dynamo on the sidelines by the name of Matthew Bode about to come on, and he is a real goer. So he'll add some sting to Port in the packs. They want more than sting at the moment. They need goals. Here's Naish. He's a long way from home. He goes towards Cummings and co. Mickey Martin is right there with him, and he's got defence assistance in the form of Robert Scott. Well, Winston had it spent a little too early. Franco may make him pay. The hand pass comes wide towards Wilson. He gets caught by Martin Pike. Look at them pounce upon that. Back towards Pike again, and Wilson. The good tackle is laid on the ladder by Pike. Robert Scott is
That's got to be a triple doesn't it?
Well, he goes on. Chris Naish from 47 metres in towards Cummings. Drops it and gives away a free kick.
That's the mark you've got to take there, Will. I know the ball's very slippery, but I mean, they're the ones you've got to take for a full forward. And to give away a silly free kick like that was just bad play by Cummings.
So North again. Shannon Grant playing, pushing back. McCartney, an important player in the North Melbourne lineup this year. His third club, and really
last chance, Will.
Yeah, they're looking for a centre half back. Down to the half forward. Some bit of space here now. Harvey over the top. Blakey. He's coming right onto the 50. He's going to run all the way. He's going to have a shot.
Stevens.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, Lade's come off the ground and young Bode's come on, which you said before, Sandy. Their midfield wheels have been pretty ordinary tonight, Port Adelaide. Lyle's been down, Wilson. Egan, who's a very good player. He's been down. Cummings off now, as we called a bit earlier. Scotty Cummings should have marked that ball.
Yeah. But here's an example of the opposite, where North Melbourne's midfield. Stevens was involved in the play just up the back line, not half a minute ago, and here he is having a shot from the goal square.
And missing. And missing to the left, if you don't mind, Anthony. He doesn't do that too often. 10-3, plays 2-4. 6.5 minutes remaining in this first half.
Great player, though, isn't he? Just the ground he covers, you know.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
And picks up the ball and is able to carry it that extra 10 or 15 metres, and then his kick is very, very good.
Scott off for Scott Welch.
Scotty Welch. Young bloke's just played the 2 games this year, former West Adelaide, so might get a repeat. Denis Pagan allowed to stay the night here, go home to mum and get a bit of good cooking.
I don't think so, Wills. I think he'll be told to get on that plane and get home, son.
Dennis No Fun Pagan. Chandler in the front spot. Grant comes into assist. They win it again, North. Pickett just sitting a little bit off the contest, receives it.
Look at this.
Shoal, Archer, Bell with it. He's had a ping at him. He's bounced it through again. So Peter Bell gets his first. And what a change of career it's been for him. One of the deputy vice captains here now with North Melbourne this year. 1 of 4. A player from Fremantle who's now really blossomed in this side. And Doug, often a player changing clubs, it can make a huge difference to him.
A big difference, a new lease of life. And I think he may have played in that premiership, did he? In 96?
He did.
Yeah.
So Peter Bell gets in on the goal scoring action. North now have 11. In what has been a wild first half by the boys from Arden Street. Abraham has taken high, and Winston has the free kick on the defensive side of centre. They've done it very well, North Melbourne. Abraham heads to half forward once again. Stevens was waiting down in front, so too was Eagleton. Neither could take it. An attempted shot off the ground could have almost been construed as somewhat dangerous. So Kingsley gets the free kick. Goes down to half forward. Cummings is off the ground, as we have said. North again defend, and they do it so well. Bell pushes it over the line in front of Naish, and the young boy just on Bode. He's an interesting character, young Bode. Played Teal Cup, played county cricket, and then got the call in the draft. Son, your future lies with Port Power. Donald Dickey. Winston Abraham. Back towards centre wing. Mead tried to push it down towards the line. Carey it is eventually who sees it over with Matthew Primus The crowd having a bit of a go at the King, but he doesn't mind that.
I think Port Adelaide take nothing away from Port. They've tried very hard, but I just think tonight we've seen a very professional outfit in North Melbourne. They just played this wedge style of football beautifully, ball forward and kick the ball long in their forward line wheels.
They're a side that doesn't like to be beaten, humiliated
two in a row.
as they were last week.
But I think that fall had to come early in the season. I mean, they went right through in the Ansett Cup, won all 4 games, won the premiership there, then got to a start, a tough game against West Coast Eagles round 1. So that fall was coming. But what's been great by Denis Pagan and his coaching staff is that they've brought them back inside the week very, very well.
And ironically, it was also one of the trademarks of the old Port Adelaide. They hated being beaten twice. And rarely were. Just a marvellous record over so many years.
Mellington inside centre half forward now. Carey charges at it lately, but now Eustace and Franco working just the kick on out again. Some better numbers here, but some very strong physical stuff there from Byron Pickett, and back into the fray again. Great play by the young player Carey. Little give, strong Shepherd to centre half forward. No one can quite gather it there. Chandler, he doesn't mind getting in hard at it. Ball across the crowd. No, says the umpire. Hewitt wants to give it on out. And eventually Brody Anderson is held and tucked the free. It's a while coming, the free kick. So the right foot in, but there's no one at home. Primus can't take the mark. Knocked down. Here's Winston. Can't grab around. Onto the behind post on the full. Goal umpire points to the boundary. Umpire says it's yours.
I can't believe this, Wills. I'm watching Daryl Poole here. He's playing centre half forward. There is times when, son, you've got to come up the ground and contest the ball up on the wing, Wills. He's sitting back too far.
Centre half forward needs to be up there to ensure the contest. If there's going to be space, it needs to be behind the centre half forward, not in front of him.
Anderson went through strongly, couldn't take it with him, and it's pushed over the line.
Yeah, so as Doug and I are now talking, Sandy, Poole is right at centre half forward, and there's a huge hole
there is.
There. He's the one that should be up there taking the next kick, and then the space is behind him then for the full forward to be able to lead on into.
What we're saying too, Sandy, you've got young Bode who's going to be contesting the next marking option for the Port Adelaide side as they go forward.
Blakey's got his measures.
By about a foot.
Yep.
Shaw in trouble, loses it. Eagleton a good tackle, but the ball finishes with Grant. Centering kick in towards Harvey. He loves kicking a goal as young Brent Harvey. Loses it and it's socked out of the danger zone. Now the race is on. Kingsley and Koza, away we go. Carey's there as well. Francis too. Pickett a good tackle, but deemed high. So the youngster gets his chance. Bode, the left footer. Kicks in towards half forward. Mickey Martin head front spot. He's beaten by. Now here's a chance as that ball goes goalward, but it's away to the right. Another behind.
Good work. Burgoyne there right on the end of it. Tread raised the full forward now. And at least he led out and was prepared to jump up and meet the ball there. Mickey Martin will work him into place very, very quickly, I'm sure. But that's just the structure they need. They need a forward who's willing to come on out, create a contest in there, and then have the smalls like your Burgoynes or your Eagletons in underneath it.
First quarter it was 7 goals to 1. Not quite as severe in this term. It's 4 to 1. Martin, Mickey, cold figure extraordinaire around the body towards Martin Pike, pushed underneath the ball by Michael Wilson. Still on centre wing. Francis had it and dropped it. An opportunity now for North Melbourne. That was through Mellington. It's a high kick up towards half forward. Abraham was there. Had it. Lost it. Wants to go again. So too does Chandler. Almost kicking in danger. Pike at the back comes out via a tunnel ball and is then tackled to the ground. Chandler, Anthony Stevens, the last man up, Martin Pike. Couple of minutes remaining in this first half. Primus tries to use the body. Mellington tries to come out the back door. They're going nowhere.
And as we approach half-time, we still haven't yet seen Corey McKernan. It'll be interesting to see what Denis Pagan... No, there is no need, but the rain isn't as severe. You may consider that a little bit of ground time in the second half may be of value.
What do you... I mean, you'd love to give him a run,
you've got it. He's got to come onto the ground. He's got to get... I would think some 40 or 50 minutes of ground time in the second half, just so that he can start to get himself into a little bit of match condition.
Which they could afford to do. I mean, they've almost got a 10-goal break.
No doubt at all.
I think 2 rules in Sandy. If it wasn't a 4-pointer and it was only a practice game, you'd see him play half a game. You wouldn't play him a full game anyway.
Yeah. Bond is in trouble. Across half back, and look at
he's in real trouble.
Shane Bond, game number 59.
I'd like to see more verbal spark from a few of those Port Adelaide players around this contest now. They're just seemingly very quiet and very flat.
Hewitt.
So let's just see what sort of spark there is out there. I mean, North don't have to show. I mean, they're just in total control. Port Adelaide's the ones that, you know, there's Josh Franco, the hands on the hips in front of the screen. They really need someone now to take hold of the situation and scruff it up a little bit.
I think on that 2 rules, I think Primus has been pretty reasonable in the ruck for him. Capuana now is not on the ground. It looks this way, and Mellington has gone into the ruck to have a crack at Primus. He's been pretty good for him. Gavin Wanganeen, of course, coming back from suspension, been fairly quiet, probably only had half a dozen possessions, a bit more than that. So he hasn't had a big Southern game at all.
Primus again had front spot, and he's going to have to do the ruck work once more. Brett Harvey takes it over the line. He's had a big first half as Brent kicked 3 goals in the first quarter, 1 in the second, to help North open up this commanding lead. Primus wins it out the back, initially for Kingsley, who gets assistance from Francis. Francis kicks towards centre wing. Bode makes a valiant attempt to mark. But it'll be a throw.
See, Port are a very inexperienced side, and with Primus and Wanganeen, you know, with Wanganeen down a bit, they're the leaders of the club, and it's really left to these younger players to probably stand up now and take that next step.
McCartney couldn't take it. Scott Bode goes again. He's a real little terrier. Don't worry about that. Bell gets rid of it to Pickett. Pickett tumbles a punt towards centre wing. Clever use of the body by Martin Pike. Off he goes to Brodie Anderson. North goes surging forward to Carey. He's at the back. Carey couldn't take it. Going to get a free kick. He's a long way from home. He might have a shot.
Could he, Sandy?
Oh, he could. You wouldn't think so. No. A wet ball, but he'd let it talk go and just have a bit of fun with it. It's not a bad kick, by the way, but there will be no score. So at half-time, North Melbourne continue on their merry way as they did in the first quarter. They set it up with a 7-1 first quarter. Second term, it was 4-1. So at half-time, North Melbourne are 11-3, 69, leading Port. Hands on hips, tired and worried. 2-5, 17.
You there, Sandy? Okay, mate.
Someone got it. Thank you.
Alexander. Alexander, how are you? Alexander. Sandy.
Hear Scotty, but he can't hear me. 1, 2, 3. Scotty, can you hear me?
Sandy, yes, I can.
Righto, mate. Fire away, me boy.
Well, Brisbane Lions are going under the assumption that it's a 2:10 start on Monday, although Colo will inspect the weather tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Send everyone a fax.
It's going to be all right, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be the forecast of showers, possible storms, temperature 28.
Yeah, what are they? Oh,
It's all bull dust.
Yeah.
Melbourne star Gary Lyons already in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Got up there early just in case his back played up.
Yeah, he was at the airport today with us.
He'll do some walking tomorrow. Sean Smith's going to miss, and Luke Power's going to miss for them.
Right.
Richmond coach Jeff Geesham said it's back to the 60s and 70s with the Spirited Tigers. He said that the players refused to give up today. They've got their 25,000th member today, 2 down there.
Shit.
Mark Miranda, even with a jarred knee, and he's going to have x-rays taken tomorrow, he wanted to go back on in the last quarter. That's the sort of spirit they've got.
Yep.
And they're sending Justin Charles to Brisbane for a holiday, and they're going to wean him off football.
What, and drugs?
Eh?
And drugs?
And, well, I'm not too sure about that, Sandy. He's not allowed to take a football with him.
Righto.
Kenny Judge said that our boys had never experienced tempo like that in the last 10 minutes or so. Jason Dunstall wanted to play, but they wouldn't risk him. Tony Shaw disappointed. 3 players injured at Collingwood. Wallace was overshadowed today by the Libbers. The Libbers were everywhere at Optus Oval. Mum and Dad Libber, Libber and his mama, Libber and his father, the kids Libbers everywhere. And even Gary Ablett sent him a letter of congratulations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to finish.
Yeah. There's another one. You know how Joe Mercedes is threatening to sue?
Yeah.
Well, guess what happened? Phil Cracker, who's had a case pending since 1989, his has been listed in the courts for August this year.
You're kidding.
No, he got stuck in the mud at the MCG in July 89, and the case comes up in August. He's suing North Melbourne, the League, the MCG, the MC Trust, everyone who's involved.
Mate, is Phil the one in jail?
No, Phil's the one out of jail.
Oh, look, excuse me. Sorry, Scotty, is Phil the one in jail?
No, he's not.
Thank you. Jeez, that.
Mate, quarter by quarter, then through to Scotty,
Yeah,
and there's
you
2.5.
just tell me.
Account?
Then the footy.
Welcome back to Football Park. If you're a Port fan, you won't like this scoreboard at all at the long break. It's been all North Melbourne. They've kicked 11-3. Brent Harvey's booted 4, and Port Adelaide has 2 goals, 5. So the boys from Port Power have the job ahead of them as we try now to locate the great Scotty Palmer of the Herald Sun and find out all the latest news that is behind the news. Scotland, good evening and welcome to you. Now, what are the lines? Are they still carrying on about this game? Surely it's not going to be changed come Monday.
No, well, they're proceeding on the assumption, Sandy, that it's going to be a 2:10 start on Monday. Ian Collins is going to make up his mind at about 10 or 11 tomorrow and send him a fax. But the weather for Monday's showers, possible storm, temperature 28. So the game will go on 2:10 Monday.
And so it should. In fact, Gary Lyon was at the airport with us today, so he's obviously taking no risks with the back.
They flew him up there early just in case. He's going to do a bit of walking tomorrow and report how the things up there are. Sean Smith's not going to make the trip, and Luke Power could be out of the Lions side.
And Scotty, out at Punt Road, the spirit of the 60s and 70s is back, is it?
And I remember that, Sandy,
I
60
knew
and
you
70,
would.
yeah. Jeff Geesham said today's game was something like the old Billy Barrett, Royce Hart, Francis Burke era. He said last year, of course, we were beaten by 80 and 85 points in a couple of matches, and when we slipped 42 behind today, this same thing could have happened, but the Tiger spirit rose out of Punt Road, Sandy.
Settle now. Kenny Judge must have been bitterly disappointed, as you say, leading at one stage by 42 points.
Yeah, he said the young Hawks had never experienced anything like that tempo in the last 10 or 15 minutes. It's an experience curve for them. They'll benefit from him, but he's very disappointed. That's 11 on the trot. Jason Dunstall could have played, wanted to play, but they wouldn't take the risk.
Tony Shaw, how's he, besides disappointed?
Very, very disappointed, Sandy. He said that the Pies could have been whacked even harder by Footscray and the Western Bulldogs in the third quarter. He said we lacked discipline in the end. And he's got 3 players. He's got Gavin Brown, their best player today, Scotty Russell and Paul Williams, all with leg injuries tonight.
And Scotty, I believe it isn't Easter Saturday out at Optus Oval today. It was Liberatore Day. They were everywhere.
Fair dinkum, the Liberatores, they were everywhere. There was Mum and Dad, there was Tony and his wife, the kids, their cousins, everything. They were running everywhere, the Liberatores.
What are you saying? They're good breeders.
Oh, no. Even Gary Ablett sent him a letter of congratulations before the match. He said he is the finest example for young boys wanting to play the game, Sandy. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's great. They came from the great number 5. Now, finally, Phil Cracker is in the news again.
Well, this is one out of punchlines. You know how Joe Mercedes threatening to take the MCG to court over the condition of the ground?
Yeah.
Well, Phil Cracker got stuck in the mud at the MCG back in
Years
July
ago.
89.
Yeah.
Nearly 9 years ago. His court case comes up in August. A long wait, but who knows what might happen, Sandy.
Trust punchlines to find it.
Keep on punching, Sandy.
Good on you, Scotty. Scotty Palmer from the Herald Sun, and good to have him on the program. I hope you have taken advantage too of picking up your footy record this week and pick it up each and every week, because it is, of course, the Football Bible amongst the articles on this week's record, Ben Eagleton. What makes him tick? We talk tactics with Tim Watson on taggers, and then of course that great actor John Woods, why he loves the Hawks. Well, it's all there in your footy record. Just watch out for it now. And Greg Hobbs even said in this week's edition, tough task for Port. At the moment it is a very tough task. We'll see what they can do in the second half. Well, if you've just joined us, welcome to Football Park, where the margin is 52 points at half-time, favouring North Melbourne. Of course, Melbourne is in action on Monday up against the Brisbane Lions. One of their stars is Sean Smith. Got his problems at the moment, but let's share some highlights with him now in this Mitsubishi magical moment.
Good kick. If everyone is remembered for one magical feat in sport, this moment belongs to Sean Smith.
Nita had a shot about 55 metres out, and I thought, well, if this drops a bit short, I'm going to have a run and jump at this, because the guy was on Chapman from Brisbane. He was sort of trying to cut my lead off, so he actually wasn't standing on me, and it happened to drop a bit short, just right in the right spot, and I happened to jump and just got the perfect ride, and I don't think Gary Lyon was particularly happy about it, and I took the mark, and yeah, it was the rest is history, really, isn't it?
This was the mark of 1995, the critics' choice for the mark of the century.
Get my car, new Mitsubishi Magna that I won for the mark of the year, driving along thinking, how'd I get this car? It's magnificent.
Sean Smith, another Mitsubishi memorable moment.
Yes, you never get tired of seeing that fabulous highlight from Sean Smith, and also the look of mystery on the face of Mr. Lyon as he turned around scratching his head wondering what on earth had gone on behind him. Don't worry, Gary, it was one of your men. Let's go down into the rooms now with Bruce Abernathy. Abbas?
Yeah, thanks, Andy, and obviously North Melbourne was a very happy room down here, things going well. The incredible thing during that quarter, you look up at the centre bouncers, and Port Adelaide had Brendan Lade, Scott Cummings and Darryl Poole. Three big men. North Melbourne had Scholl, Blakey and Abraham up there, and I think just that perhaps North Melbourne took advantage of the big men because Wayne Carey went back onto Darryl Poole, etc. So I think they made the most of the conditions when Port Adelaide really had what win there was. Now they've let me into the rooms down here if I promise to give their membership drive a plug. They want all the people who are watching and enjoying North Melbourne's performance tonight to, instead of sitting watching, to actually ring up. They've got a membership hotline. The number's 1300 3632 31. Ring that number. And of course, their motto is join in the chorus and become a member. Back to you, Sandy.
Okay, then yes, don't forget that number, will you? 1800 363 231 is the number for that. And if you do enjoy your footy, don't forget, of course, the footy panel comes your way on 7 on Sunday morning. Rex Hunt and the entire crew. And they'll have a bit of fun as they dissect and review and preview what has gone on what is going on. Just check your local guides in Perth, Melbourne, Adelaide and Sydney for the footy panel right here on 7. 52 points the margin, favouring the boys from Arden Street. Back with the second half shortly.
As the little leaguers line up the respective play races, ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation to youngsters for the game of football that you see this evening as well, please. And for continuation of final season out, please welcome back North Melbourne. And let's hear it for Port Adelaide, the Park.
Welcome back to Football Park. Let's just join in the chorus and become a member of North Melbourne Kangaroos. We'll reiterate that number because I think we might have said 1-800. It is 1-300. We'll go through it very slowly. Even Dougie's writing this down. 1-300 363 231 for North Melbourne fans. If you'd like to join them, I think it's a very good cause. And of course, they're playing like absolute champions at the moment, aren't they? 1-300 363 231. Boys, you've had a chance to try and dissect the problems here at half-time. If you were John Cale, what would you do at half-time?
Well, I'd change, which he certainly has done already, Sandy, with coming off the ground. I think their midfield needs to pick up. I'm talking about Lyle Wilson and young Eagleton, who's a very good player, who I saw 2 weeks ago against Sydney play a great game. He needs to lift as well. And I think the skipper, Gavin Wangan, really needs to lift in the midfield as well for their side. But they need a goal kicker. Where it's going to come from, I'm not quite sure. Maybe young Treadray could be the answer.
North, on the other hand, young Brent Harvey has been quite sensational, hasn't he? 3 in the first quarter, another one in that turn.
The perfect foil in underneath, hasn't he? And you know, this was the opening goal for North Melbourne after Port got the first, but you know, some good, smart, wet weather football there. And then this one here just buys enough room to be balanced and just really judges the flow of the ball in so very well on the kick. Scholl has been a good player across half forward, and again Harvey, so 3 goals in the first, 1 in the second to Brent Harvey. But as Doug mentioned, I think the real strength has been in the midfield. He contributed to it there in particular, but players like Shannon Grant with 11 disposals, Scott with 10, Stevens with 9, they just keep racking up possessions in the midfield and pushing it down enough that the North forwards will always have the opportunities.
Well, Matty Primus and his charges just leaving the middle. There's Shannon Grant, number 6 for North Melbourne, kicked the goal in the second quarter. And let's see if Port can really produce something in this second half to come back. Down by 52 points. It's a big ask, particularly in these conditions, Dougie. I mean, you just can't give a side almost 10-goal start.
Yeah, spot on, Sandy. I don't think Port can come back, but they've got great fighting qualities about this side. I've seen them come back on a few occasions, but on this occasion, I doubt that. And Corey McKernan is still on the bench for the North Melbourne side. Yet to have a run.
So here we go in the second half. As Doug has said, no Corey McKernan yet as Braden Lyle wins the first kick of the second half. They want the first 4 or 5 goals to give them a bit of spark. Fabian Francis takes that good give. Kicks in towards full forward. They need a mark at the back. Paul is there. Martin is there. Franco sees it over the line.
Well, you've got to give a tick. That was Treadray again. He was involved in a push forward just before half-time. Gathered the ball and gave the quick give. This time he goes off to Fabian Francis, but being squared a little bit towards the outer side. The kick is out of bounds, just thrown in now in the forward pocket. A real opportunity for them, but Mickey Martin just strong in the defence, drops it down to himself, then nonchalantly on the left foot, out wide. Stevens off the ground. North just gathering numbers through the midfield. Pike, one-on-one contest at full forward. Scholl down to the ground, looks for the free kick. Mead now gathers them up. Just a forward give, intercepted by Archer, but it's Port. Paxman's the first one to drop back.
On the very last line, Stephen Paxman comes towards half-back. That is okay. The mark is taken by Fegan. Nigel's kick is wide, and it's not pretty. Out of bounds on the full. So Abraham is going to get a chance to come back again for North. Just forward of centre. Hugs the boundary line. Scholl is in front of his man, but Paxman does well to get a hand to it and affect the spoil.
He done very well there, Sandy. And I've noticed 2 rules. We're trying to find a forward for Port Adelaide to kick a goal. Looks like Jack Cale has sent down Gavin Wanganeen to play inside 50, who's been picked up by Brett Chandler.
On right half forward then for North Melbourne.
And I think that's about right, Doug. I mean, it's not as if Gavin has been a dominant player in the midfield, so they're not going to lose anything in that balance. If he can get into a one-on-one contest, you'd back him, 1, his experience, but 2, his ability to read the ball and win the ball in close in a direct opposition opponent contest.
Hewitt does the ruck work. Fegan's kick comes back towards centre wing. Picked up by Lyle, but straight onto the chest of McCartney. Jason McCartney's on centre wing.
Got to look to switch it here now. All the traffic's been over this side.
Well, he goes into the middle. Archer was an early flyer. Huskus waits at the back. Just chips it 5 or 10 metres to Kingsley. Still across half back. Yeah, that's the player that he's pinpointed, and he's a good little left footer, this guy. Does it well as he threads through some heavy traffic. Kicks to half forward. McCartney thumps it down to Mickey Martin, but his kick is smothered. Here's a chance finally for Port as Wanganeen heads for home and kicks a much-needed goal.
Well done, John Cole. In essence, he's got the first goal there. As Doug pointed out earlier, Wanganeen has gone down there for that specific reason, just to try and create something out of what has virtually been nothing in the forward line. Poole doing just enough there on the Martin kick and the rebound here to Wanganeen, keeping it low, just skidding it through on the damp ground to score his first goal.
Been a pretty quiet night for the skipper, 4 kicks, but maybe he'll spark up Port and their fans with his first goal. As we go back into the middle once again, Anderson tries to rip the opponent off the top, but it doesn't matter. Goes down towards half forward. Belted clear, back towards the centre. Chandler overruns it. Franco is there. Hewitt also. Stevens says, "You take it, me boy," to Shannon Brown. And he does. Kicks back into the centre, but only as far as Braden Lyle. Port a little more pumped up. He gives it to Fegan. Kicks up towards right half forward. But there he is, Mickey Martin.
He's playing well, isn't he? You know, this would be some 8 or 9 disposals.
Solid as a rock. Finds Carey just forward of centre. Wayne Carey holds that kick back towards Scholl. Got a player waiting down in Brent Harvey. Been in everything so far. Hewitt has taken off the ball, didn't appear to have it. Donald Dickey tries to get clear with a short kick, only as far as Blakey. He could have been held, and yet umpire Darren Goldspink saw nothing.
It makes me this crowd here, they just keep supporting their side. They're nearly 8 goals down. When Gavin Wanganeen got that goal, they just don't stop cheering their side. It's just fantastic.
Dougie, this is Port.
They're amazing, aren't they? Really are, Sandy. They just
incredible.
keep giving and giving.
Fantastic. That's what it's all about. Chandler almost kicking in danger, so too Bond. They both had a bit of a stab at that one.
Well, you'd expect them to come out fully fired up at the start of the second half.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, it's been a bottom line, very embarrassing first half for them. They'd only picked up the 2 goals, 1 in each quarter, and really Jack would have got right into them, and the players would be pulling upon that pride component without any doubt at all.
Still on centre wing, Primus, claimed by Harvey. Bond, that's better to Dickey. Little chip up towards left half forward. Now Lyle's got a bit of room. Blakey gives chase, but he gives it away to Kingsley. He kicked the first goal of the match. He heads for home again. There on the last line, it's touched and one behind.
Well, Kingsley had no option other than to go for it. Then once they ignored the Wanganeen lead, basically it was an open goal square other than that pair running on into it, and only failed by 1.5 metres.
Byron Pickett then to bring it back into play. Dickey, Stevens, Dickey front spot. Stolen off the top by Franco. He was taken to the ground. The umpire says play on. Archer does. He pops it up for Harvey. Had to stand his ground. Difficult one. Knew they were coming at him. Stood the ground. Bond very kindly picks the ball up and gives it back to the youngster. He kicks to right half forward. Over the back and travels. Huskus almost down in the back pocket. A long hand pass. Look out, Wilson, you are gone. So too Bond. Not before he gets the hand pass away towards Mead. He has a look through the centre. Good smother by Welsh. Goes again on Bowe. Bowe gets it out to Dickey. Port fans are fired up. So too the power. Franco from left half forward. Kicks them in towards the 50. And Blakey is there once again.
Yeah, Wanganeen had the break then, was well clear, but then just as the ball was approaching, went for a little bit of body work, missed Blakey, allowed Blakey to take the front position in the mark. Kicks it on there towards the wing. You're just down to ground. There's Salt and Pepper, young Harvey, in amongst everything just at the moment. Half forward. Port defence standing up very strongly just at the moment. Fegan coming through. Strong hip and shoulder by Bond. Kingsley across the body. Just falling short. Naish. They're broken out. They're out now. Bode. Little left foot gives a good one. Wanganeen can't take it. Dickey, can he step one out? He's out, handball's over the top. Eagleton curls it around. They've got another one. So Nathan Eagleton on the end of a chain of handball, and a good concentrated piece of work there by Port Howe, forcing the ball forward. They've kicked the first two of the second quarter. It's still a long way behind, but they certainly have given themselves a chance here now. 39 points.
Well, if Port needed to be fired up, 2 quick goals have done exactly that. 4-6 plays 11-3. Still a long, long way to go, but their fans have got something to cheer about now.
I tell you what, Sandy, you knocked on the head before, young Matthew Bode. His pick up a bit earlier, one-handed like a dry day, was brilliant, and he's kicked at Wangley. He's a bit stiff there. Wangley should have just about marked it, even though the pressure was very good by Chandler. Bode is a player of the future, no doubt about that.
Yeah, he's a goer. The umpire from the left has come in some 25 metres away. Picked out a free kick going the way of North Melbourne, to be taken by Hewitt. Kicks towards half forward, shot out on a long lead, chopped off however. Pagan will get it away, does so, back towards centre wing. Port most certainly have lifted. Here's Treadway to left half forward, Bode is over the line.
Good bit of work there from Jason McCartney. He chased the kicker there, Treadway down, just put enough pressure on the end so the kick did eventually go out of bounds on the full.
Piggott brings it back. Primus, the big man, does the roving. The floating kick, or Bow dropped it. This opens the door for Pickett. He kicks back towards centre wing. A number up. Mead heads towards the boundary line. Winston Abraham doesn't want to go there yet. He gains another 10 or 15 metres before it rolls over.
Just then, Sandy and Wills, Hewitt came off the ground and Capuano came on the ground. You think if McKernan was going to come on, this could have been the time.
Yeah, you're right. Capuano doing the ruck work as we speak with his throw-in. In opposition to Primus. Primus tries to do it with the left hand. Chandler was in there. Bond is in there. They're like seagulls over a leftover sandwich. Another baller. Stunning first half by North. 11 goals to 2. Told the story of their dominance. But Port are fired. There's an excellent smother by Winston Abraham. Gets the hand pass away towards Peter Bell. Chips into half forward. They need Harvey at the back and they've got him. Oh, the youngster tried to shovel it forward. He couldn't take it cleanly, but he had the right idea. Could have taken the ball by Lyle. Now he regains control. Bode! The little man with a big fly, but to no avail. Pickett misses it. Bode goes again. And the umpire has come in. Umpire Scott McLaren.
Eagleton just probably accidentally more than anything popped one across the chops there, just in the shepherd. He wastes no time on the left foot. It's in towards centre half forward, but in front, very strong Scotty Welch. Played both games this year. Made his debut around 12 last year, gets the kick on. Okay, now Port with an opportunity. Fleega just going to ground press when he shouldn't have. Kingsley trying to get out, can't do so. North keep it on them. Eustace now looks for a handball tuck, wasn't there, decides to kick it himself. So the contest right on the 50, the fly there from Treadway. North, Chandler, quick kick on out, and Bond. So Bond's now looking at a very crowded forward line. He kicks not a good kick, it's a real wobbler. Luck will favour somebody here. No, Bode makes his own with a good gather. On out wide to Dickey on the left foot. Here comes Wanganeen, falls short of him, curls it around. He's going to have to drag it right back, does so to the front of the square. Treadway overrun there by the 3 North Melbourne players and a behind.
And what happened here, Wills, Wanganeen now has been picked up by John Blakey because Wanganeen had Chandler early. Chandler now has gone to Nash. A good move by Denis Pagan, a more experienced Blakey onto the Danish Wanganeen, particularly in that goal square.
38 points the margin. North haven't scored in this quarter as yet. Byron Pickett goes short to McCartney. Short again to Blake. Mick Martin's calling for it down on centre wing, but he elects to go.
Oh, no, it could be very dangerous. He may get out of it. Back to Blakey again. Blakey tumbles a putt.
He's looking for safety, but the only man there is Fabian Francis. Could have had a bounce. 60 metres out. Long kick. Wanganeen will fly. He's not on his own. Bode Wadey's down. The left footer gets caught, taken to the ground. Martin finishes with the ball. Mick defends. Primus is in the middle. Needs support. Fegan gives it to him. Back to Primus again. Lyle is also there. He's caught. Ball spills free. Look at that tackle. It is a beauty.
Sometimes in a contest, the essence that you need to attend to is just getting the ball free, and more often not, a quick kick out can do a lot of damage. Here, just a few too many players continue just to handball around in close.
Capuano doing the ruck work.
That's
again.
the kick. That's the one we wanted.
Up towards Eagleton. He has a dream of facing Shane Warne from over. Well, he's got to do this at the moment. And here's an opportunity now as Eagleton goes towards goal. And let's go! He's got it. 2 goals to Nathan Eagleton. Onto this term, and suddenly this game is alive.
I didn't see the handball there, Wills, but it was a very smart handball. Let's have a look at it now as we go through the
Look away handball here.
Franco, yeah.
Keeping one eye on Mickey Martin, one on the target. I think that's good.
What, wouldn't you?
Good decision.
Big Mick coming at you. Great goal by Eagleton.
So the smaller players starting to have an influence here for Port Adelaide. Eagleton with the last 2 goals. Matthew Bode has been very, very busy in the midfield for them. And now they're looking just to surge forward again. North of the first one's back onto this one. It's Scott. He's kicked towards North's half-forward line now. Abraham plays out in front of himself. Looking to run onto a Bond. Goes towards the line. Umpire Scotty McLaren. No hesitation in asking the umpire to throw that one in.
Let's go down to the boundary line. Bruce Abernathy.
Yeah, it might be a mystery. Glenn Archer, when Gavin Wanganeen kicked that first goal for the quarter, he went straight back onto Gavin Wanganeen. 5 minutes later, off the ground, straight down to the rooms. They say he's got the flu, but I suspect there might be something a bit more to it than that.
You might have the flu too after tonight, Abbas. Let's hope not. From the throw-in, Primus working hard. Now it's Kingsley. Back towards centre wing. Bit of holding on is allowed to go unnoticed, and it finishes over the line. Tackle was good on Donald Dickey.
Corey McKernan's up on the boundary line now. Sandy.
Well, nice sight for North Melbourne fans to see big number 31 back. He comes onto the ground. Oh, gee, he's keen to get into the fray too. He's taking the place of Anthony Mellington. It's pushed down into the pocket, so he'll follow that ball down by the throw in the right forward pocket.
I don't know how many times, Doug, you came off the interchange bench, but you come on sometimes and you run around, and the chest starts to burn and you're heaving and you're blowing.
And you're gone, Will.
You're gone.
You are gone.
In 3 minutes, you're just flat.
I think Corey's going to last 5 minutes. He's cut off, pumped up. He is going to blow.
Yeah, well, Capuano's taking the ruck there. Here's danger. Peter Bell. Probably had more time than he thought, actually.
Yeah,
certainly.
Well, one of the essence in kicking a wet ball, and obviously he's very wet here, is just to make the ball spin properly. If you're going to kick a drop punt, do so and ensure that it spins properly, because what the outcome you need is to have it be good, markable ball for your teammates downfield. Get off kicking the big mongrels.
Primus was in front spot. The hurried kick is by me. Down towards Fabian Francis. Needs someone going past. He's got it in Fegan. Fegan looks down towards right half forward. Big pack of players there. Treadray, the gloved one, gets the hand pass away. Here's danger though. Poor hand pass. Carey might make them pay by just shoveling to the line and forcing a throw in.
Yeah, it was a poor hand pass. The slippery ball just didn't make a strong enough connection with it. But I've been impressed with Treadray. Since he's come on, he's given them something leading up, and has been a good alternative to Scotty Cummings at full forward to date.
McCartney and Treadray both there. Bell at the bottom with Pickett.
Treadway was one of those young players that once Port were notified they were coming into the AFL, they stashed all these great little players, young players, and he was one of them.
Bode caught, had it, then lost it. Brodie Anderson. Donald Dickey leads in the race, but there's going to be a few of them in this race. And Harvey's quick too. He got it. Well done by Brent Harvey. And then he slapped it to the line. And gets a pat on the head for his troubles. He's had a good night so far. 4 goals, 3 in the first quarter. But North have just the one behind so far in this quarter. And we've got only 7 3/4 minutes remaining. Certainly not panic stations, but Port coming back.
They would have been completely different rooms at half-time, wouldn't they? It's tough here for the North Melbourne players and for Denis Pagan, because really, in essence, no matter what Denis said to the players, they were hearing a different tune. They were looking like, we're in control here, let's just get this game over and done with. Whereas on the other hand, Port were really given a lashing, I'm sure, and have come out really ready to fight this one out.
Carey towards Capuano. Takes a good mark on the chest on centre wing.
Sandy, they're amazing side, Port Power. The tradition of the club, Port Adelaide, of course, has been fantastic. Now they've moved their fighting character across to the Port Adelaide, to Port Power, of course. They just never give up. No. Fantastic.
It's one of the traits of the old Port. There's no doubt about that. Primus leads in the race here. Paxman is right there with him if he needs the assistance. Lyle wider. Kicks up towards right half forward. Treadway unable to take the mark. Mickey Martin, a test of strength. Chandler. Caught was McCartney. Off he goes to Pickett. Pumps it high up towards, centre of the ground. Winston Abraham went up a day too early. And Huskis comes away. Kicks towards half forward. Pickett uses the body. He's got to defend here. He's got to beat 2 or 3. Bode tried to farm it out. Comes back towards Harvey in the centre of the ground, and he takes them up. Goes on with the job. Into the middle. Suddenly the runners are away. This is Anderson. Winston! Made good ground. The lead was perfect from Abraham. And he'll have a shot. 35 out, 45-degree angle.
Sandy, what we saw there was the advantage of North Melbourne forwards pushing up the ground. So there was a space here for Winston to be able to run back on into it, and the kick was just spot on into his path.
It's interesting, the breeze has come up a bit, and it's favouring the end to which North is kicking at the moment.
Certainly is, Sandy, no doubt about that. We can see the flags on top of the grandstand down behind those goals, and it appears to be maybe even a couple of goal win now, I think, for North Melbourne. So Port have come home with that bit of advantage.
Just keeps them alive, but Winston could steady the ship here. Under 6 minutes remaining in this third term. Starts at left, coming back. Well done by Winston Abraham. Good kick.
Yep, perfect assessment there, Sandy. He was in total control. Doug had just discussed the breeze, and it was blowing virtually into the goal mouth, so the kick always needed to be worked towards that left-hand goal post first up, and Winston really did the job on it. A very good user of the ball. 3 goals straight last week, and that's a classical little approach and kick. Very well done. So Winston Abraham with a very well judged kick picks up his second goal, and North's first for the quarter after Port Adelaide got the first 3. They need to stay right with this now, Port Adelaide. They can't allow North to get a consecutive goal here. They've won the free kick.
It is amazing here, Wills, where Port Adelaide really have dominated this quarter. They really have gone forward at times by scramble football, where North have just gone forward once and back the goal.
So Robert Scott hits the half-back line with Pickett. Pickett getting a lot of football. This is kick number 13 for him. Out to Corey McKernan. There it is. The first mark on the comeback. Wheels around as the big man. Let's go. That's a huge kick. He's got a heap of energy in that leg. He's unloaded it. And over the top. Scholl just now allowing it over the line and out.
Well, that's one of the great points of Big Corey's game, that long kick, and that ball would be fairly heavy. He's kicked that 65 metres.
Yep.
That's a huge roost.
So he's just now sitting off the contest. He's allowing Capuano to do it. Drops down, charges through Abraham. Yuska standing firm. Working across half-back. Is it going to stay in? No, it's not. Out of bounds now, 55 metres around.
Yes, Terry, under 5 minutes remaining now in this third quarter. Paul and co having a spell on the Port bench. Been a better term though by the Power. Primus, Dickey now. Donald's kick back towards the centre. McCartney dashes forward, kicks towards half forward. Beautiful roving by Peter Bell, but he puts it straight onto the chest of Paxman. And he wants to move this quickly and surge it down the ground. Kicks wide. They open the door for Brodie Anderson, and that's a poor kick. Anderson could really make him pay. Corey's last kick, Douglas just said, went 65 metres, and he's now going to be kicking from probably 55.
Let's say he's a moral post high here, Wills. I'll put my name on the line here. He'll kick this post high. No doubt about this one.
45-degree angle in front of the scoreboard here at Football Park.
Please do it.
55 metres. So you're not far wrong. A huge kick, but across the face and one behind.
It appears too here, Wills, that North Melbourne have the luxury of having Wayne Carey playing a kick behind the play. Looks like he's playing that kick behind the play at centre half back. I just can't see no one picking him up at this stage.
Well, that's the great versatility they've got. As soon as McKernan comes on with Capuano there, they've got as many options as they want.
Bond goes from the back pocket to Fabian Francis, almost down to centre wing. They had the loose man there for a moment, but they've still got him. Eagleton looks towards full forward, a bit of holding on. The advantage is paid, and a behind is the result. Well, you then ask the question about...
I think that's a very good call. Is that now an advantage? I have seen it called back maybe 2 or 3 possessions post the infringement previously, and here we're talking 1. Now there's the free kick.
Wanganeen.
Yeah. Pause, that little pause there by Lade. The advantage goes. So the advantage wasn't maximised. So
Pickett to Capuano. Good grab. May have undone his good work with a handball. Put his teammate under undue pressure. Bell will soccer off the ground. Goes down towards McKernan. With him is Paxman. He'll make him work. Welch there also, but it is Mead who takes it away from him and pushes it over the line.
With that advantage there, Wills, is that certainly that ball don't have to come back to Wanganeen. If the misses a goal, that's given a point. Yes. That's the way it is. It doesn't come back to the initial free kick.
My opinion is the umpire was wrong. It should have come back because it wasn't advantageous.
It wasn't advantageous to the side.
So I believe the umpire made an error there.
Kingsley over the line on the outer side.
I'm sure Peter Schwab will ring us during the week and tell us whether we were right or the umpire was
it's an
right.
interesting one. I'm sure that Port fans would have felt that they didn't gain the advantage that was warranted.
I can tell you what, as a coach, you'd say no advantage there.
I'll tell you what, where's John Russo when you need him?
Yes.
We need you, Johnny. No, we don't. We made the decision ourselves.
Ball up on that outer side. Under 3 minutes remaining.
But that aside, I think the umpires have done quite well tonight in what are difficult conditions. Players throwing themselves into the contest and slipping and sliding into it. They've allowed the game to go on after what I thought was a bit of a staggered start by them early in the game.
Oh, no. Here's trouble. Here is trouble. Paxman goes to ground. He loses it. Fagan could be on the end of the hand pass, but it'll be intercepted and pushed over the line.
It's just a great example there of having too many handballs. I mean, when you're under enormous pressure there, just clear the ball out of your defence line. And I mean, that time there, 2 or 3 handballs by the Port Adelaide side. You're not playing in dry conditions. The ball is very slippery and very wet. Just get the ball forward the best way you can.
Carey's doing the ruck work in these closing minutes. Corey McKernan lurking down in the forward zone. North maintaining control. That's despite being outscored so far in this term by Port. Stevens kick down towards the McKernan territory. Oh, socket off the ground, but it's into the right forward pocket and over for another throw. fans have their supporters despite the inclement weather. They continue to urge them on, which is great to see. From that throw in again. Comes out the back door eventually, but only from that.
So we're a minute and a half of play left in this third quarter, and really you've got to give it to Port Adelaide, don't you? And their 3 goals, there had been a real distinct lift in the midfield from their players. It's quite
Lyle's
last couple of minutes.
Lyle and Eagle and Wills have been very good in that area. You're spot on there, Wills.
Dickey to Lyle. His kick is short, only as far as Harvey. Been a live wire. McKernan's on the lead. Oh, what a catch! Oh, I reckon Corey might ask a question there.
Well, Doug feeling in first slip here beside me, called it no catch.
Oh, it's a catch.
Oh, it is too.
You've got to walk. You've got to walk. That's out.
Sandy, you're dead right.
No
That's
risk. Another one for Schwabby. That'll be a busy week there. Winston Abraham couldn't take it. Martin Pike gives it out to Capuano. A high one. Corey's there again. Runs into trouble this time, and it finishes over the line.
He's jumping around like a 2-year-old.
I can't.
Corey?
Yeah, I know Wayne Carey is the Roo boy, but Corey McKernan looks more so like that. He's got a real spring in his step.
He's happy to be out there, I think.
Definitely.
Another point goes onto the board. Speaking of the Roo boy, he's on the other side of the ground at the moment. May get his chance. It's the hand pass out the back, just as done. And the words fall forward. Winston Abraham! Winston! Too good. 3 goals to Winston Abraham. And he's kicked them both, 2 of those in this quarter. And suddenly some of Port's earlier good work in the quarter has come under.
No doubt, Sandy. Just the brilliant play by Kerry again to make something out of nothing there. He just grabbed the ball off the ground there, got the handball across to Anderson, whose kick went into the forward line, and Abraham read the ball beautifully, knocked it in his way where he was running, picked it up, kicked the ball beautiful on his left foot. Good play by Abraham. Kicked 3 goals now.
Five-8 plays 13-6. Capuano goes early. Primus tries to get it out of the middle. Kick was high by Naish. Didn't go very far, however, and when it did, onto the chest of Peter Bell. Now look who's running down into the middle. The dashing Mickey Martin. Away he goes to Shannon Grant. He's okay, the left-footed, because he can recover and pull it back in towards half forward. Welch got a hand to it. He will go again as it's wrapped through this time for 1 by. Quarter time here at Football Park. A vastly improved Port side, outscoring North Melbourne. And the action started early on in that term. Port scoring goals through Gavin Wanganeen, who has moved down into that forward zone, and Nathan Eagleton, who kicked 2 in the quarter. But North, Dougie, were able to hit back late in the term and really steady the ship.
Yeah, they certainly did there, Sandy, and Harvey's been particularly very good up in the forward line for his 4 goals. Winston Abraham's kicked his 3 goals, and of course Blakey's kicked 2 now has been forced to play more as a fullback on Gavin Wanganeen. So no, North, every time North goes forward, they do it fairly easy, where Port had more of the play in that third quarter but struggled to kick their goals. North just kicked them, I suppose, the easier goal.
Well, they're not out of it, Port, but they're going to want a huge final quarter. The breeze has intensified, and it is blowing to the end at which John Cale and his men are kicked into this quarter. There's Jack having plenty to say to his power charges. 5-8 plays 13-7 as we take a break from Football Park.
The big men fly, the game that's played in overdrive, emotions run.
Not much better looking scoreline as far as Port are concerned, with the goals in that term to Nathan Eagleton, who booted 2, and 1 from the skipper, Gavin Wanganeen. But North Melbourne holding sway. Winston Abraham came to the fore with 2 in that term. He's now got 3. 13-7 plays 5-8. Probably an opportune time, gentlemen, to have a look at some of the match stats so far.
Well, for me, Sandy, the most important one is that marking. The 51 to North Melbourne to 34 to Port Adelaide. And those 34 of Port Adelaide would really be as a result of chipping the ball around, whereas the proportion of marks taken by North Melbourne is a lot higher in terms of taking strong marks in the key positions. And now that Corey McKernan's on, you would expect that to become even more, Doug.
Certainly, Wills. And look at the tackles too. 36 to North Melbourne, 22 to Port Adelaide, particularly in close in the midfield. That certainly has gone North Melbourne's favour.
Quickly, let's go down to the boundary line. Bruce Abernathy.
Yes, Sandy, well, you're right. The rain is still coming down, except it's going sideways now. It's heading towards the end that Port Adelaide's kicking to. So let's see how they go.
Yeah. Bruce Abernathy will be off ill for a week, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, Abbas. So, just about set to go then for this final quarter here at Football Park. North of 13-7, Port 5-8. The power hasn't exactly been switched on at Football Park tonight. But let's see if they can continue this resurgence that they made in the third quarter. Lade tries for a centering kick, goes straight to Bell. Bell defends to McCartney from a standing start. His kick is smothered. Well smothered too, but it does wobble down to Anthony Stevens. He gets it off to Brodie Anderson, who kicks towards centre wing. Good use of the body by Bond, who gave a little bit of a nudge, but got away with it. And kicks towards the 50. They'll get the crowd going if they can kick the first one. Here's Bode, gives the hand pass away. The kick wobbles into full forward from Chrissy Nash, and 1 behind as a result.
Well, it was a great opportunity there, and probably, again, Nash may have had a little bit more time than what he actually thought he had, because he could have then controlled the drop punt towards that left-hand goalpost. Otherwise, it was a... Well, this has really put the pressure on here. The kickoff, not a good one at all, and Port with an opportunity. North Melbourne now gather the numbers. Mickey Martin coming through, clears long towards the wing.
Still got the numbers. That was Scholl. Got the hand pass away to Stevens. Kicks up towards centre wing. Abraham going with the flight of the ball. Loses it. The door opens it once again for Braden Lyle. McCartney spikes it back towards the centre. Donald Dickey's there. Outnumbered, but he continues to go, and he finishes up with it as Donald passes in towards half forward. Good defensive mark taken by Robert Scott. Tucks it under his arm. Away he comes to Anthony Stevens, almost down to half back. Stevens has got another player in Chandler, almost down towards centre wing, and Brodie Anderson picks out Anderson. Draws the player. It goes over the top to Winston Abraham. Pressure on McKernan here as he tries to tap it to Scholl. Loses it, but the tackle is good. Back it comes to Abraham. He's almost down to half forward. Cruises through, then has a bounce in shockingly wet conditions. Well done, Winston. The half forward. Spills free. Pike, the hand pass okay to Shannon Grant from a standing start. Kicks to half forward. Primus is there, marking strongly. Gives it off to Huskus. He's in trouble. Back to Primus. McKernan's got him. The tackle's okay. They're not out of it yet. Eventually it finishes with Lyle. Kicks it high and long. Martin and Lade are both there. At the back is Anderson for North Melbourne. Steady kick into half forward. Capuano couldn't take it in the half volley. Clever little push forward to Pike. He gets collared. Ball spills free. Franku first to it. Tries to push it forward, then goes again. Steady, cool play by Josh Franku. Up to half forward. Robert Scott is the effective spoiler. Pickett tries to belt it off the ground. Doesn't go very far. Grant gives it back to Scott. Robert Scott long and low. That is okay to Scholl, who takes the mark. It's the hand pass off to Stevens. Loves to run and spears a little worm burner into half forward, and Brent Harvey.
Yeah, everyone's probably wondering why Huskus went back into play instead of kicking the ball out wide there. He had no one to kick it to. It was all North Melbourne players. He had just absolutely nowhere to go. And Shane Bond's been given the job on Winston Abraham. And Dickey's been a very good player, playing on half-back flank for Port Adelaide as well.
Brent Harvey going for number 5. early on in this final term will go a long way towards breaking some of the Port spirit, which he's done. Good effort by Brent Harvey. 5 goals to the young man. And the North continue to power away, opening up a 52-point lead.
Been a surprise packet, Wills, when you think about it, when John Longmay originally was going to play in the side, and young Brent Harvey's come into the side and kicked 5 goals, and to be fair to say, 5 match-winning goals.
So he's got the 3 votes, has he?
Who's given the votes?
So Brent Harvey, 5 goals. A career best for him. 3 was his best in round 1 last year. And I think Doug's got the pen poised with 3 votes over his name.
Wills, don't try and influence me, please. I'll make my own decision on this one. It's going to be a tough job.
It is going to be tough.
You've got it written down.
I've done already, have I?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
But he has. He's been very... The impressive part of Harvey for me was that he got those 3 goals in the first quarter, and the first quarter of the game always has to be set up. And
Terry, don't try and influence me, please, Terry.
Okay. So here he comes again. He's got another kick, Doug. Doesn't travel far, that one. Mellington just knocks it on down. Naish out the back bond, tries to kick it off the ground. It's really, the ball's going nowhere there. Lyle, just an up and down kick. Dickey on the outer wing. Forward handball, always a dangerous one in wet conditions. If you're facing the goal, you're far better off kicking it 20, 30 metres down the track than that forward handball. Bode just buys a little bit of ground, but let's just watch North mop up here. Grant, then Martin, tosses it high in the air. Can't get away. A little bit of a rugby flick out the back of the scrum. Port now tumbling into half forward. Carey in the rain, couldn't complete the mark. Scott breaks away.
Comes back in towards Peter Bell in the centre. Got the numbers running through there. Anthony Stevens gets caught. Flying tackle was very, very good. Fabian Francis now maybe can set something up for Braden Lyle. Again, a proppy hand pass has put his teammate under real pressure. The kick's not a good one. Martin and Co will tidy up again. Robert Scott gets rid of it quickly up towards the defensive 50 line. Martin continues to pour on the pressure. Lay gets the hand pass back. Eagleton's tucked on the boundary line. Centering kick in towards half forward. Carey was the flyer, trying to spoil. Here's a chance for Bow. Handle it like a hot potato, like a piece of soap. That's what it's like at the moment. Brody Anderson tries to soccer away. Stevens does. Back towards Capuano. He heads towards Scott on the boundary line, who'll just shovel it forward, gain probably 8 or 9 metres, and force a throw in almost on centre wing.
Just look at the big men department here, Wills. No doubt, in my opinion, here, Primus probably been the best big man on the ground in conditions you wouldn't think would suit a player like him.
I mean, he's been good for last week against Salmon. He was very good too. They dominated the centre bounces there at Wadley when they won the game.
It's been good again tonight.
Yeah, and in a developmental stage of a club in which Port Adelaide are definitely in, it's always good to be able to develop it around a good, strong big man, and Primus is that man. I mean, he's, what is he, just turned 23 years of age, so there's a lot of footy there to be played.
Almost down to centre wing. Naish gets the hand pass out. Kingsley caught one as he took the kick. Didn't travel very far, but he picks himself up. So too does Mr. Wilson. There's a word from the runner. Looks like Bruce Lindsay. And another throw. Scott tries to belt it clear. Stevens, an effective tackler on Lyle. Back to Kingsley again. A high kick to half forward. All up, except for Carey. Another clever kick. Let's get out of the danger zone for the moment, boys, and clear it out. 52 points the margin.
Won't Carey relish the return of Corey McKernan? It just takes a little bit more heat off him and allows him a bit more of a sort of peripheral role, if such a thing can be played by Wayne Carey.
Wanganeen ran into Robert Scott. Stevens, nice little pirouette. Paxman those in front of Capuano. Comes back towards Paxman and Capuano again. And eventually it's taken over the line by Treadrake.
To be fair to say, too, Will's just touching on McKernan and Carey. McKernan wasn't that far behind Carey at one stage there.
Quickly, let's go down to the boundary line, Abbas.
Yes, that first goal to North Melbourne really has taken the sting out of the players from both sides. It really is down here very close. Just the sting is gone and the players running up and down in one spot.
Yeah. Franco, a high kick in towards half forward. And pushed over the line. 5-9 plays 14-7. Big weekend of football though. Continuing on 7, just check your local guides. Games tomorrow and of course also on Monday. Big one at the Gabba. Big game for the D's. Big one for the Brisbane Lions too.
Sandy as well.
Heading up there, yes.
Sydney and Brisbane.
Heading up there, yes.
And you travel.
Just following the rain.
And
loving it, Dougie. Belted by McCartney. Gains 5 or 6 metres. Look at Anthony Stevens again. Gets a tap on the head from his opponent, from his teammates. Encouragement.
And probably deserves one from his opponent tonight anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been very good in amongst it all.
Always is, isn't he? Very consistent player.
Capuano doing the ruck work there. It's been a bonus having him back into the side tonight, getting through at the stage okay. And what about this bloke, McKernan, into the side?
Pushes it back towards the middle. Carey runs into a brick wall, loses it. Stevens again. Look at that smother. Then they pounce upon him. Oh, Primus's coat hanger. And that's a big effort for a man who's 10 feet tall.
Yep, and 50 metres against Wayne.
Silly boy Wayne.
Yeah. Just a real show of strength, a bit of ego in there, I think, Doug.
What do you do there, Wills? Do you leave him on the ground or do you take him off and being a naughty boy?
I'll tell you what, this is a fair 50. Yeah. Wouldn't you love to buy a little house block off him?
So here it is here. The umpire's calling Wayne Carey to let him up. Won't do that. And the 50 metres and a fair 50 what your call, Sandy, has been applied.
He's now 35 metres out from goal and he has kicked the goal.
He's probably been their best player, Primus, I reckon, at this stage. No doubt he's rough times for you all night. He's been certainly the best big man on the ground, in my opinion, here. And the top of the 50-metre goal, which was probably certainly, as Sandy Roberts said, I totally agree. Good play by Primus. He's been a good player all night.
So the crowd.
Wayne Carey having a spell on the bench, and the Port fans love that.
What do you reckon, Sandy? Maybe for that 50 metres or just having a spell?
And he's just having a spell.
There's a fair glare up at the coach's box he was given too, wasn't there? I think Denis and Wayne will have separate seats in the plane for sure.
I don't think there's a major drama. Oh, Fabian Francis flew through the air like a flying machine. Couldn't take it. Here's Bode. Beautiful little hand pass back to Fabian. Kick in towards Treadrow. Has got to go again. He's going to get a free kick.
Okay, so a free kick there played by umpire Jamie Lovewood. Treadrow was down at ground level and the umpire was indicating there was contact made high by the legs. There's the knee there. Jason McCartney, well, that's what he saw and that's what he's called. Yeah. Well, I would suggest that the free kick was given more for protection purposes, that in these conditions a player's got his head down in the contest and it was the contact was made within the
Crowd tonight of 27,615. It's pretty good when you consider the conditions they've had to put up with, but they've seen another Port goal. So Treadway gets his first. And it's Port's 7th. 7-9 plays at 14-7. Here it is again, Dougie.
Yeah, there was contact, Sandy, I think. Yeah, certainly contact there by McCartney there on player young Treadray there, and no doubt Primus again in the ruck has been outstanding, getting that ball out of the centre. And certainly players like Lyle and Egan certainly have lift as well.
Just over 11 minutes remaining here at Football Park. 40 points the margin. Primus goes again and he wins it down to Lyle. Hurried kick goes straight up and down. There we say a rainmaker. Not tonight. Not required. Franku couldn't get it away cleanly. Wanganeen looks to push it wide. Socket on towards half forward and taken over for a throw-in. Soccer work done by Fabian Francis. And waiting down there is Danny Morton, who's wearing number 13.
So it's been a 5-goal to 3-goal second half to this stage. So I mean, if Port have come out and shown a little bit of spirit, you wonder whether that's a result of their superior play or North just being a little bit off the heat.
Morton gives it away towards Wilson. There's another one to Port. Michael Wilson, third in the Western first, gets his first. And Port get their 8, and some respectability creeps onto the board.
And good play there by young Danny Morton, who hasn't had much of the seen much of the play here. I'm very surprised to see Morton on the bench because these conditions would suit that type of player. Very good at ground level, but his kick out of the ruck was very good, and a great goal there by Wilson, who's been fairly quiet tonight.
So the last 3 goals of the quarter to Port Adelaide, the umpire indicating he's going to throw it up, and he does do that in the centre circle. It's dropped straight down. Wilson couldn't get away. Chandler does the tacking, then the quick kick out. Pike towards the boundary line. Both players wanted it. No, Pike now decides to keep it in play. Looks towards McKern. He's bustled out of it. The kick doesn't get to him. Paxman claims it. Paxman's given the mark. Wanganeen wants to step away. Umpire says go back, give it to the fullback, let him have a kick.
He goes right across the ground. This could be very dangerous. Huskis is going to have to do well here. Scholl does extremely well. He beats a couple. He gives it off to the dashing Blakey. And Johnny Blakey bursts through half forward, kicks towards full forward. But Corey McKernan is shepherded out. And Matthew Primus chops his way clear. Takes the mark and plays on short to Paxman. 57 plays 91. North in control, as they have been after 1 goal was scored on this ground. That was by Adam Kingsley. Primus gets clear. Wobbles a punt down towards the middle. Brodie Anderson loses
Good steal.
And that was by young Danny Morton. Kicks it inside 50. Mick Martin comes charging out. Pike uses the body. Will go again. Robert Scott is in there to just try and chip away. Eagleton picks it up on the outer side. Centering kick by Eagleton. He wanted Lyle, but he was a little too late. Stevens is giving it to Carey, and Carey gives it to the boundary line.
It looked like there, Sandy was passing to the Worm, who was running a North Melbourne jumper. He was going there at that kick, was he really? But when Port Adelaide sit down and look at this video of this game with Jack Cale and his team, they'll just see what it's like playing in wet weather by that one too many handball on many occasions tonight. They've handballed once, twice, 3 times too many.
Blakey back to Stevens. Could have gone to Abraham. Pickett is there as well. He uses Pickett now, who gives it to Pike. And there is Winston Abraham. So too Harvey. Around the body he goes, and the diving mark is good. It's taken by Hewitt.
Impressive young man, this young fella from Subiaco. Just, you know, great athleticism about him. Not a real good kick. No, he's not. No, he's cutting blind.
You give him a rap, but they do that, yes. Donald Dickey gives it away to Paxman. He decides to take them on, and he wins. Kicks to half forward. Again, North have the numbers. It's Stevens loose across that half-back line. He's got time to assess the situation. Kick in towards Peter Bell in the middle. Been busy, Bell. 12 kicks, 6 hand passes. This goes short to Jason McCartney. McCartney looks towards Scholl at half forward. He had a wall of Port players in front, and he infringed going over the top.
So they come back again. Just dropped in short there. Morton again. Looking towards the half-forward flank. Half a dozen of each side there. It's down at ground level now. Port with the numbers at ground level. Bow just squeezes on out to the path of Lyle. Runs onto it. Pressure from Stevens is enough. The kick, not a good one. Martin cleans up again. Charges through. Just clears the area. Get the ball away from the full forward spot he does. Off the ground. Out the back. Dickey. Tosses it back in again. Forwards working hard. Cummings there with Martin. Martin with pure strength, absolute strength. Puts Cummings out of the contest. Back now to Morton. He's going to have a shot. Hard up against the boundary line and doesn't even reach the scoring side.
Dougie, if Mick Martin was your bank manager, you'd never get a loan, would you?
You'd have no hope.
Tight as a...
He is tight
as a drum.
Tight as. No, but he's been a great player tonight. I mean, people say he just works hard. He's been honest. He's been a great player for the North Melbourne side over many years. But young Orton for Port Adelaide, I can't believe he's been on the bench so long. These conditions will suit him perfectly. And he's been very good over the last 10 minutes since he's come on the ground.
Pickett takes it from Mickey Martin and goes wide to the outer side. Eagleton and Robert Scott see it over the line. 7 minutes remaining. And Mickey dropping a mark uncharacteristically. But look at the way he's so quick to recover.
Geez, you might nearly get him in the votes now, Doug. I mean, he's been very good.
Yeah, he might be a chance, Will. Have a look at that one.
All right. Chandler's kick is only short. Brodie Anderson is going past. Picks it up and kicks towards centre wing. Hewitt came in from the side. He's got the numbers there. One of them is Scholl. Swings around. Centering kick. Oh, Donald Dickey was at half back. Couldn't take the mark. Bell. Long bomb in towards full forward. And Winston Abraham is lurking in that area. He's going to have a shot. 35 out directly in front.
He's been very good tonight. And matter of fact, he's been good over the last 3 games for the North Melbourne side. Last week against Melbourne, him and Wayne Carey sort of kept North Melbourne right in the hunt there at one stage. And tonight, of course, he's kicked 3 goals and possibly his 4th goal, Wills.
But here I see it. I think you see an indication of the differences in defence. Mickey Martin would never have allowed that mark to be taken if he was the defender. You know, whereas young Burgoyne was just really sitting off the contest, being a spectator more than anything. There was no physical contact there with Abraham. He was in the front spot, won it. You know, there's a lot of the young Port players who still need to learn about the physical nature of the game in the fair contest for the ball.
Directly in front. He's going for number 4. He makes no mistake. No mistake. Well, Harvey's got 5. Abraham has 4. Blakey and Scholl have 2 apiece. They've been spearheading the North goal-kicking machine tonight.
Yeah, and I guess that's right when you consider the conditions. That it was always going to be a ground-level game, and which side had the classier small men up front was always going to be an issue. North have shown that they've had those there tonight.
40 points the margin, favouring North Melbourne. Thrown up in the middle. It's won by Primus. Bode goes at it hard, almost loses his jumper. Brodie Anderson has taken out. Pickett short kick only goes as far as Lyle. Oh, he's going to be pegged. Ran into a brick wall.
Oh, yeah.
Was given it.
Well,
illegally.
Well, I don't know if Anthony ever actually gave it to Scotty. He just sort of shaped it and then took it again. Yes. But, yeah, that's throwing the ball. You can't pass the ball to your teammate. It has to be punched clear of the hand by the fist.
Here's the Moreton Bay Bug. Oh, what a one-hander! What a goal to Warren Treadway. His second. 2 goals to Treadway in this term. And Port get their 9th.
And we've spoken about Treadway a couple of times tonight, and he did this last week. He came off the bench last week, kicked 2 goals in the last quarter. Here he's kicked another 2, both of them in the last quarter, but he's been a very good forward option. He has led well at times and then shown, in this example, some very good agility in being able to knock it down with one hand, gather it next.
63 plays, 97. Back to a 34-point margin. Primus, who's been one of his side's best tonight. Tireless worker.
No doubt, Sandy, he's been their best player, Primus. He's been outstanding in the ruck. Won nearly every hit out and has done a great job around the ground as well for the Port Adelaide side.
Again, beats Hewitt, but is going to have to contest once more.
And from a North Melbourne perspective, we're really seeing a changing of the guard. I mean, they won the premiership back in '96, but out there tonight, there are 11 players who didn't play in that side. Yep. And really, players like Brodie Anderson, I mean, he's stepped up. Sandover Medal winner, but really stepped up to be a class act and showing something. We've spoken about Harvey, but then the Chandlers and Shannon Grants have really added to their side.
Paxman takes the hand pass. Martin gets a fist to it, pushes it in towards the pocket. And Wilson desperately tries to get it before it sails over the line. He's is unsuccessful. So the Bulldogs winners today, Richmond winners today, and North Melbourne will be winners tonight here at Football Park. Well, Blakey almost threw it out and struck to Chris Nash. Fabian Francis pressured over the line.
Let's hope I don't speak too early here, but I said as we flew in, Sandy, we saw the rain. I thought these are conditions where someone will get a serious injury, but it's been played very, very well, and at this stage we haven't only King is the only one on the interchange bench with an ankle injury.
Grant to Pike. Now there's not a lot home here at North. It may open the door for Kingsley. Or Sudazi. And again it may not. Mead will go again, but he needs assistance. Donald Dickey, look out! Shannon Grant, you might have spoken too soon.
I have.
Into the pocket, and the mark is taken by Treadray.
Yeah, he was just in. No, the error that Grant made there, he went for the tackle, but he had his head up. When you get going for the tackle, you've got to put your head down low and drive him with your shoulder, because when it's up, it's fair game there. I mean, arms get thrown around, and on this occasion an arm was thrown around, and you just see it here, the contact there. So the head should have been well down into the hips and driving with his shoulder. So technically not a good tackle.
But up and okay. Eagleton. Oh, that's a lovely kick. He's kicked that. Eagleton has certainly done his bit in front of goal. He's booted 3, and Port have their 10th.
I think that Sandy might have been Treadray there. I think Eagleton may have got the ball across to Treadray, I think. It's very hard to see from that pocket at this stage.
I think you're right.
It was very hard to see Sandy from this pocket.
I was thinking a little too quickly there, Doug. I think that might have been Treadray over that outer side. But it doesn't matter. It's Port's 10th. And we come out of the middle once more. It's socket away from Shannon Grant. He appears to be okay, which is good news. McCartney written into the ground. Pike charges after it once more. There is Treadray and also Morton in the thick of things. Back to Treadray. He's taken the ground, not before he gets the hand pass away. Down towards Eagleton, who's there also. But here's Stevens. Steady and cool. He heads for the boundary line on the outer wing. Couple of minutes left.
Some good signs there, Wills, for Port Adelaide. Young Treadray's coming on the ground, kicked 3 goals, been very handy. Of course, Eagleton, who we know a bit about. Lyle, Francouz, some good signs, some good young things there. Kingsley, Burgoyne. So the future's there for the Port Adelaide side.
I think what they'd be disappointed about, I mean, last year playing at home, they had an 8-4 record. They won 8, lost 4. This year they've lost both first up games at Footy Park, and that does put them behind the 8 ball for the rest of the season.
I think we're going to see more of this young man in the bottom there, Bode.
Yeah,
good boy.
I'd like to lock him into the gym for a while. I mean, he's still a bit light. He needs a lot of work there, but you can just see the talent that is within him here tonight.
Yes, and a real goal.
No doubt about that.
High ball down towards Chandler, who looks as though he was being held. And he'll take the free kick. Between centre and half back. Here's Brett Chandler.
I'll tell you what, Sandy and Wills, there's a few tired boys out there tonight. I mean, it's been a tough night. It's rained all night. The legs will be very, very heavy. I'd say a few spars, hot baths, and just freshen up for tomorrow, the boys.
You're too soft as a coach, Doug. Too soft.
What do you do,
Run them.
Give them a spa. Just chill out a little bit, fellas. Champagne for North or not?
On centre wing.
You're right. They're not running away too quick, are they?
They're a bit tired, the boys.
They're puffed. Primus, Lyle gets the hand pass out. Port continue to strive towards goal. Through the arms of Treadray it goes. Pickett on all fours, tries to swipe it out the back door. Dickey applies the tackle. Chandler again defends and he comes to Carey, who's down on centre wing. He has a look down forward. Spears it in towards the 50. Scholl is there, round the body. He got the call from Blakey, but I think he might have decided to go for home. And he slams it into the woodwork.
Just wonder if that was a cheer for Kerry. Was
I don't think they're real happy with him. I don't think they like him
done nothing wrong tonight.
No.
Hasn't done much wrong, has he?
No. But this is good for North Melbourne. Then Brisbane at the MCG next week, and then Fremantle over at the WACA, and Adelaide at the MCG. So they've got through the tough period, and they're running into good form with when they look towards the next 4 games to come.
And of course, Sandy, Port Adelaide play Adelaide in the local derby or derby, do we call it?
Sandy, you're the South Australian among us.
There's probably a derby over here.
Okay.
Look at Fabian Francis skiing towards the line and over, but he'd taken the mark. He looks like a drowned rat. He kicks high and wide, and that's out of bounds on the full. So Bell will maintain control.
And just touching on the local derby or derby, Sandy, what is the score last year? 1-1? Correct, it's 1-0. Yeah, Port Adelaide 1 in Adelaide.
And it's all over here for tonight too, with North Melbourne being very impressive winners. The final scoreline being North 15-8, 98. Port at 10-9, 69. Main goal scorers for North Melbourne. Brent Harvey booted 5, Winston Abraham 4, John Blakey kicked 2, Craig Scholl kicked 2, singles to Peter Bell and also Shannon Grant. While for Port, their main contributors, well, Warren Tredrea booted 3, and they all came in the last term. 2 goals to Nathan Eagleton, and singles to Adam Kingsley, kicked the first goal of the match. Michael Wilson, Scott Cummings spent a lot of time on the bench, and Matthew Primus, who tried his harder. Let's go down onto the ground. Here's Bruce Abernethy. Abba?
Yeah, thanks, Sandy. With Brent Harvey, 5 goals in the wet, you must like playing Lorraine.
It's not bad. It's better for us small fellas, I think.
Now, early 3 goals in the first quarter basically set up a big lead for North Melbourne. The ball just seemed to go where you were.
Not really. I mean, you got to work hard. We worked hard in the first half and put score on the board. All right.
Enjoy it. We'll get out of the rain now, Sandy.
You have to work hard there, Abba.
Well done, Abba. Tough call there, but I mean, he did do very well, Brent Harvey. Certainly snapped up his opportunities. 3 goals in the first quarter. He kicked 1 in the second and 1 in the fourth. There's Mickey Martin and Wayne Carey and Anthony Stevens. The senior men from Arden Street lead the boys off after a very impressive win. 15-8-98 to the Powers, 10-9-69.
Emotions run way up high. Give me a word with that umpire. Lock it. Give me the game I love. Give me the game I love.
Extra care this evening. Think about other road uses on the road as well. It takes an extra 15 or 20 minutes to get home. Please make sure that you abide by that request and please take it easy on the road so you use extra care. And we'll see you here next week. Good night.
Just a reminder, if you'd like to check out the AFL's official website, you can do it right now by just getting on and dialing up www.afl.com.au.
The 1998 AFL Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra. Making life easier. Victoria Bitter, for a hard-earned thirst. Cadbury Mark of the Year. And McDonald's, official restaurant of the AFL.
So North Melbourne, very impressive winners here tonight. Actually, Doug, we've got to be honest. I mean, it was a fairly tough game, really, wasn't it? Because, well, it was virtually over by half-time.
It certainly was, Sandy. In the first quarter, North kicked those 7 goals. So I think it was only to 1 goal here. Here we are, North Melbourne now with Archer, the handball across there. I think that was Bell there on the right side of his body kicking that goal. So yeah, it was Bell. He didn't do a real lot, Bell. I mean, he only kicked 1 goal. Sorry for that. Was a goal for the night. But North Melbourne up forward were very well served by young Brent Harvey, who'd come into the side to replace John Longmire, who was picked, which was a good move by Denis Pagan. Here's Gavin Wanganeen. Pretty quiet night for Gav for his standards. Only kicked the 1 goal. Played a fair bit of the footy up in the forward line for Port Adelaide when they did struggle up forward with Scott Cummings, certainly not favoured by the conditions, I'd like to say. Up to half-time, Cummings probably only had 3 or 4 chances to kick goals and didn't fail to do that. Eagleton, a very good young player. I saw him 2 weeks ago, outstanding player, reads the ball very well, and normally his disposal is outstanding, but tonight, in the conditions, had at times struggled to kick the ball very well.
And Dougie, one of the major bonuses, as far as North Melbourne was concerned, would have been the way they were able to use Corey McKernan.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, he come on midway through that 3rd quarter, Sandy, and what a great thing, I suppose, for North Melbourne supporters to see him come back into the game. His first kick went about 65, 70 metres, just went bang. He come on like a 2-year-old. Going to the barrier for the first time, was absolutely pumped up.
You've always got to bring the equine flavour into it.
I've got to bring the races in, but he did. He'd come on, he was jumping around, he was so keen to get into the fray. And but no, North Melbourne in general were very good tonight. Young Treadray kicked 3 goals. Very good player for Port Adelaide, has a good future, I think. And young Boat, as you mentioned a few times, not only is he a good goer, he can play. Here's the kicks here. North Melbourne, 205 kicks to Port Adelaide, 183. The marks, well, North Melbourne, 62 to 47. As Terry Wheeler did say before, that they dominated there. And the tackles again, there it is there. 43 tackles, Sandy, with 29 Port Adelaide. And in tight and in close in the midfield, North Melbourne certainly done very well. And their centre bounces, that surprised me, 15 to Port Adelaide, 13 to North Melbourne. When I say surprised me, I felt Primus done a great job, Matthew Primus. Rucked all day, and probably, in my opinion, the best big man on the ground tonight.
Well, that he probably could have picked up a vote from you, but that's something we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
He may have got a vote. He played very well. No doubt he's the best big man, and North Melbourne had some great players in Harvey, and I think Abraham played very well as well in the forward
I reckon
line.
they could be the 3-2-1.
We're very close.
Can we take a break?
3 to Harvey, 2 to...
Can we take a break?
Oh, okay. We can have a break.
Time now to have a look at the ladder as it stands at the moment, but bear in mind, of course, there are still a number of games to be played. I guess the important one is the unbeaten sides. Only two at the moment, the Western Bulldogs at 3 wins next to their name, and Sydney looking to continue that trend. They, of course, have a big game tomorrow. But let's have a look at the matches still to come on this Easter weekend, and we might get your views, Dougie, on who you think can take the points on these matches. First up tomorrow, St Kilda and Adelaide, a replay of last year's grand final. In a word, who do you think?
I think St Kilda can win this one, Sandy.
Sydney and Geelong of the SCG, an important one for both sides.
Cats good record, as you said. I think Sydney in a tight game.
Fremantle and West Coast, the derby.
West Coast by 10 goals.
Yes, the Dockers not in good form whilst on Monday. Lions and Melbourne.
I'm going for the D's in an upset over the Brisbane Lions.
And Carlton and Essendon.
Oh, the Bombers for me.
So there we are. A look ahead at the remaining matches. Don't forget, wherever you're viewing, check your local guides for details.
This has been a 7 Sports production.